If you've ever been motivated to not let rain break your consecutive streak of hitting 10,000 steps per day, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Tuesday, May 20th. Is it going to be a terrible Tuesday or a terrific Tuesday? Well, you folks know the answer to that. We're going to make it terrific. Got a full slate for you. Got some more news. We had Home Depot earnings this morning. We got Palo Alto earnings this evening. We got a T3 Tuesday. We got Red Dog coming out. We got a lot to get through. We start right now. Good morning and welcome back and a happy Tuesday. We are one day closer to our 3-day Memorial Day weekend. I could not be more excited about that. Hope you all have some good plans. If you don't, you got several days to come up with those plans. So let's get on it. Let's go ahead and say good morning to everybody. Kayla, good morning. It's great to see you again. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Pete, good morning. We missed you yesterday. Pete, hope all is well. King, good morning. Brett, good morning. Zach, good morning. Ivan, good morning. Big B's locked in, ready to go. I love it. Good morning. Charles, good morning. You guys are the best. Well, thank you, Charles. I maintain that y'all folks that decide to join this thing are the best, but I'll take your praise. I've told Rodrigo that, and I've pressed the like button. You guys have made me more money than any other service. That absolutely warms my heart. Charles, that's absolutely fantastic. I'm glad you told Rodrigo that. He didn't tell me that, so I'm glad you came back and told me that. Sunkissed Yogi, good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Congrats, UNH Longs. I'll tell you what, this stock's been fun. This stock's been fun. Our group's really kind of been hitting it. I love it. Day Trader, good morning. Hitting the coffee there on the West Coast. Ivan, good morning. Hot that like. Let's hot it up, Ivan. Let's make it hot. Hit that like. Good morning, Ivan. Great to see you. Bernhard, welcome back. Paul, welcome back. This Moj, welcome back. Looks like I've become a regular. And welcome. We're happy to have you, This Moj. Hope you're having a good day this morning. 3D, good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you. Wesley, good morning. Ed, good morning. We got Ondas over $1. Did trade above $1 this morning. It's bidding $1 right now. The chart looks like that thing's ready to launch. Boy, oh boy, is this taking a long time, but patience will be our winning factor. I'm confident in that. Judge, good morning. It's great to see you again. Welcome back. Catherine, good morning. Seahorse Trading, good morning. The producer is locked in as always. Erock, Austin, Hunter, Jacob, good morning. Dan, Vera, Yassine, good morning. Glenn, good morning. Harris, I can't read that name. GB Slice. All right. Good morning. And Jane, of course, good morning. Hope you all had a great Monday. Hope you're having a good Tuesday here in Chicago. Our forecast is for rain all day. So I'm going to have to drag my ass out into that rain to make sure I get my 10,000 steps today. Not looking forward to it, but we do what we got to do. And good morning. You want to take a look at AISP. That's Airship, isn't it? Let me go ahead and add that one to the list. We can do that when we hit the movers. It'll be in a little bit, though, and so sit tight. JJ, great to see you, my man. Great to see you. Welcome back. Terlingua, good morning. Ralph, good morning. Zoo, good morning. Ryan, good morning. BLMZ and Volume. That blooms. That's a junky penny stock, isn't it? I'll take a look at that when we get closer to the movers. Brian, Ed, good morning. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's start with everything. We got a lot to get through here today. First, we're going to start with the SPY. Then we'll take a look at the morning update here. Here's a look at your SPY chart. We are in one of the fastest recoveries of a bear market of all time, as we covered yesterday. Where do we go next? Now, first of all, yesterday we did trade above 595. Okay, we were able to do that, but we were unable to close above that. So we'll factor that into wherever it lies. honestly, what I really want here is a little bit more sideways trading. VIX down here at 18. Bitcoin backed off some of its overnight highs a little bit. Maybe that's foreshadowing for what's coming here today. S&P futures here about flattish. S&P futures are down a little bit, 0.2%. NASDAQ futures down 0.3%. The Dow had gone green earlier. That was on the back of UNH's performance, as well as Home Depot, which reported really good earnings here today. I want to believe that that's because I went and bought a pressure washer there yesterday, but that's clearly not the case. Nonetheless, Home Depot and UNH really kind of bringing the Dow up, and that's giving us our mixed futures here in the morning. Just along with the SPY chart here, would really like this to really kind of stay between 590 and 600. Let's give it a couple of sessions. The rest of this week I would be okay with that. We're going to start bringing the RSI in. We're going to kind of discover this price, trade around here, chop around here, and that should prepare us for another leg higher, hopefully, if you're a bull. Now, same could be true, right? We could trade around here. We could chop around here. We could get some really bad news that could send us lower. So I don't know which way this is going to go, but what I'd really like to see here from a performance angle is maybe some sideways action, hold some of these levels that we've recaptured instead of just giving them back up. And then we'll figure out where we go next. Let's check the morning update here. As mentioned, we're kind of flattish here in the futures market. We really don't have a whole lot of economic data. We do have Barkin and Bostic speaking at 9 in the morning, that is. We have Collins at 9:30. We have Musalem at 1. We have Kogler at 5. And we have Daly and Hammock at 7. So we literally have Fed speakers talking all day here today. We'll see if that does anything. No upcoming IPOs today. As mentioned yesterday, we do have the RBC Capital Markets Global Healthcare Conference. A lot of stocks are going to be perhaps moving based on the back of that conference. REGN is definitely one to take a look at there, amongst others, but we're going to have a number of those in there. As far as initiations go, we did have Home Depot initiated here with an outperform. Remember, they also reported earnings. That was probably the big earnings this morning. The other big one is going to be Palo Alto tonight, so we'll see what happens when Palo Alto reports. I don't think there was anything else in here. Bath and Body Works equal weight Barclays $35 price target. Nah, I don't know how much that actually matters. Spotify got a buy from Canaccord, $775 price target. This one's notable here because it does look like the analysts also think that this might be a good play if the economy weakens. It's probably safe from getting cut. I feel the same way there. Downgrades, Mongo database. This is one that we talked about here recently. I guess this is kind of a surprise downgrade, I guess you would say. We'll see how much impact that has. Mongo down just shy of 2% here today. And then as far as upgrades, nothing there that I thought was notable. Also, we did have NBIS report here this morning. NBIS looks like it moved lower, but it's come up off those lows. That conference call is about to start. We'll see if we get anything else out of there. Also, Pony AI. This was one that Smoked Tuna recently had been trading. This thing made a ridiculous run off the $4 handle before testing 20. Here in the pre-market, it looks like Pony actually traded up and came back in. I'm sure we'll take a look at that when we get to some of the movers there. That pretty much does it for the morning update. Let's roll through a couple of pieces of news here real quick. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody here. Charles, you want to take a look at Sezzle again and Palantir again? I'm going to ask Red Dog about Palantir. We got Red Dog joining us here in a little bit. Sebastian says we need more Fed speakers, please. LOL. I don't know if you're going to get more than what you get here today. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the news here. I am going to mix in some charts as well. And I do have a YouTube video for you to watch if you're interested as it pertains to NVIDIA. We'll get to that here in a sec. First, U.S. stocks likely to open lower after the S&P 500 6-day streak. Quote, quick recoveries tend to see stocks rally more over the next 3 to 12 months. Interesting. Experts were assessing the impact of President Trump's tax cuts via the proposed Big Beautiful Bill, as Moody's also highlighted the impact of the tax cuts from 2017 and underscored it as a key reason for its decision to downgrade the U.S. credit rating from AAA to AA1. This is what we talked about yesterday. Treasury bond yielded 4.45, so that actually ticked down a little bit, so we get a little bit of a good print there. The 2-year bond was at 3.96. Okay, healthcare, consumer staples, and industrials led the S&P 500 yesterday. Stocks mostly climbed, with the Dow adding over 100 points. However, energy and consumer discretionary bucked the upward trend, closing lower. Despite Moody's downgrading the U.S. sovereign credit from AAA to AA1, investors showed limited concern. Notably, United Health Group, ticker UNH, shares jumped over 8% on Monday, extending Friday's 6% surge after executives purchased shares during a recent dip. We talked about that. We actually had a discussion about this on the happy hour show. One of the things I did not mention yesterday, really astute mentioned by the viewer. With the CEO change, some of this might actually be forced buying. So the CEO had that big $25 million buy, unsure really how much of that was forced, how much he actually needs to do. Forgot to mention that yesterday. The CFO also had a $5 million buy, and I'm unsure that he would have had anything forced on that. Some of the three other ones, I think, totaled 1.4 million shares or something like that. Really, the big one, the 25 mil chunk, that was from the CEO. Some of that might have been forced. So something to consider there. Novavax also soared 15% on its FDA approval. Now, we talked about all that stuff yesterday. Unsure if that's going to really come back here today. I know UNH is definitely going to be on watch, but we'll see if Novavax rears its head today. Now, some insights from some other analysts. As the S&P 500 index recovered, and it was just 2.99% lower than its all-time high, Subu Trade shares data in an expo suggesting that the index tends to rally 2 to 12 months after notching such, quote, quick recoveries, end quote. The last time the S&P 500 recovered from minus 18 to minus 3 within 50 days, it returned 20.43% on average after 1 year and 4.86% after 3 months. Also, the data shows that the index was higher 100% of the time after 9 months and a year. Quote, these quick recoveries tend to see stocks rally more over the next 3 to 12 months. Momentum is strong. And that's currently where we find ourselves here. If you want the tweet there, I'll go ahead and give that to you. Link there in the chat. Meanwhile, analysts at BlackRock bet on rising inflation by being overweight on the inflation-linked bonds. This strategic shift is to mitigate risks stemming from persistent inflation pressure and growing concerns over the sustainability of U.S. government finances. The note also highlighted how the U.S. debt sustainability relies on large and steady funding by foreign investors. Quote, the downgrade reinforces the U.S. fiscal sustainability challenge that we've long flagged, especially persistent U.S. budget deficits at a time when higher interest rates are boosting debt servicing costs. If these dynamics dent the confidence of the foreign bondholders, rising term premiums could push up bond yields and debt servicing costs even more. Again, that was from BlackRock. Quote, that's why our starting point also includes our expectations of rising term premiums for U.S. Treasuries and persistent inflation pressure. We go overweight inflation-linked bonds and neutral global investment grade credit given wider spreads. So that's what BlackRock is telling you. I don't think there was anything else from this one. Next here, I did really quickly want to talk about NVIDIA. And you know what we'll do? We'll actually start with the chart here on NVIDIA, and then we'll dive into that story. And I have a YouTube video for you. So if NVIDIA was on your list here today, you are in luck. Oh my God, my channel keeps resetting here, and it's actually starting to frustrate me. I'll try and figure out what's going on there. Here is NVIDIA. As you can see, we did break out of this channel as well as trading above the 200-day. One of the things we'd really like to hold here is this maybe 130. I've got it marked here as 131, but let's call it 130. We really don't want to lose this. We would be testing the 200, and it's kind of gappy in here, right? If you take a look at the volume shells here, kind of weak by comparison. This probably falls to the 200 and might even peak below that. We'll see if we back test the end of that channel. Otherwise, 141 seems to be an upside level here on NVIDIA. This was a previous high back from February. It does look like this is kind of flagging and trying to push higher. And remember, earnings coming in 8 days. That is going to be on Wednesday, May 28th, after the market closes. So can we actually break out of this flag in any meaningful way prior to that earnings? I got to think that we do. Question is going to be, which direction is it? My gut feeling, if I had to bet right now, I have no position, so it's really easy for me to say that. But if I had to bet right now, my bet would be that NVIDIA tries higher before rolling over. The last time this thing traded down to its 500, it found excellent support down there. I think that is probably behind it, at least for the time being. Now, let's talk about an article here. Jensen Huang and Satya Nadella tout a 40x speed up in Azure-powered AI as Microsoft and NVIDIA deepen its supercomputing alliance, two tech giants that we often take a look at here, deepening their alliance. Microsoft and NVIDIA are significantly expanding their supercomputing partnership with both companies and CEOs highlighting a 40x speedup in the Azure-powered artificial intelligence infrastructure during Microsoft's build in 2025. Satya Nadella and NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang revealed that their collaborative AI supercomputing efforts have reached full production with the new Grace Blackwell architecture, representing dramatic performance improvements over previous generations. Quote, "We are ramping and scaling and building the largest AI supercomputer in the world in Azure," Huang said, noting that the company's joint innovations across the entire technology stack have yielded 40x speed up over Hopper in just 2 years. The partnership leverages NVIDIA's new FP4 Tensor Core architecture, liquid cooling technology, and advanced NVLink capabilities that connect Grace and Blackwell processors coherently. Sorry for all the tech babble there, but that's what's going on here in AI. These hardware innovations combined with the new CUDA algorithms and Microsoft Azure's infrastructure to deliver unprecedented AI performance gains. Huang emphasized the importance of regular hardware upgrades to maximize performance benefits. Quote, "When technology is moving 40 times per generation and it's 40 times every 2 years, you really want to upgrade every year." Yikes, my wallet doesn't like the sound of that. Both executives highlighted how software optimization continues to benefit even older hardware generations. Hopper on Hopper has been 40x over the last 2 years, Huang noted, attributing improvements to new technologies like in-flight batching and speculative decoding. The alliance extends beyond AI trading to accelerate diverse computing workloads. Quote, "Our two teams are working on accelerating data processing by 20 times, 50 times, and transcoding video and image processing models of all kinds." Nadella summarized the partnership's goal as delivering, quote, "more tokens per dollar per weight to help the world flourish through advanced computing technologies that neither company could achieve independently." So I guess the big question for me is, do you think that these two companies merging are actually going to solve more problems than the individual companies? I don't know what to make of that. I'm still kind of, I use AI tools. I can appreciate some AI tools. I don't really think they're groundbreakers yet. We'll see what happens here. We'll see if this means anything. I got to imagine, though, that this partnership kind of looks good on the surface, if you will. We'll see how the stock actually responds to that. Now, one of the videos that I wanted to show you, 13 and I have been talking to you. I'll just go ahead and share the actual link here in the chat, and you guys can watch it at your leisure. I'm not going to play it here. But this is basically, 13 and I have been telling you about how NVIDIA has really kind of botched what got it to where it is today. I understand that the hype around this company, the reason the company the reason the stock has performed so well over the last couple of years has to do with AI. But the reality is that it was graphics cards and graphics processing that really kind of put NVIDIA on the map. And it appears that they're kind of slipping here. The video that I just shared with you is about NVIDIA manipulating the reviews from customers to try and make themselves look better. The last video that I talked about was about their cards not producing what the given specifications said that they would produce. The same team here, it's this Gamers Nexus YouTube channel. They do excellent work in terms of diagnosing this. It's all very methodical, and they have data for all of the conclusions that they reach. It was eye-opening to me that NVIDIA's quality control seems to either be slipping either from negligence, or what's even scarier is that they're kind of just intentionally letting some of these products that aren't all that great get through. Lot of kind of shady stuff going on there, not giving the customers what they're advertising on the product. Now it looks like they're manipulating some of the reviews. Again, I understand that the graphics card business is a lot less than the AI angle. And so some of you might be saying, well, what does this matter? I think the longer term thing that we're trying to bring up here is that if this happened with their graphics card unit, it's possible that this negligence or whatever it is might kind of seep into the AI area of the business. And if that happens, then there's a ton of downside for NVIDIA. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm not saying this means that this is a short, but this is interesting information that we have been tracking, and it goes against some of the narrative that you hear on any of these the large financial programs and channels. So just for you, if you're interested in that, sometimes some of these technical things just a little too much for people. Just keep in mind, not everything is perfect. Not everything is perfect. And this might also mean a possible catch-up trade for AMD and Intel, two stocks that have really kind of been laggards while NVIDIA has just gone gangbusters on stuff like that. So we'll see how it all shakes out, but that's what's going on there. Figured I'd share that with you. And then also, if you want, I'm sure 13 has opinions on it. If I will remember, I will ask him as well. Okay, next here. What time is it? Oh, we're cooking here. Next, Elon Musk was once a Microsoft intern. Did anyone know that? I actually just learned this here today. Shame on me. I feel like I should have known that. Now his company is bringing Grok to Azure, quote, incredibly important for AI to be grounded in reality. The XAI CEO tells Satya Nadella that this was kind of interesting. Speaking for a brief chat at Microsoft's annual developers conference, Nadella welcomed Musk, recalling his early connections to the company. Quote, I know you started off as an intern at Microsoft. You were a Windows developer and, of course, a big PC gamer still, end quote. Musk reflected on those early days by saying, quote, I had one of the early IBM PCs with MS-DOS. I programmed video games in DOS and later in Windows. Remember Windows 3.1? This quote right here made me feel old and partially useless because I remember all of these things. I, too, had an early IBM PS2 or whatever it was that ran MS-DOS and Windows 3.1. I remember all of this. I remember trying my hand at coding games early on. I remember pirating these really crappy text-based games like School Sucks 7 and a bunch of other really kind of stupid things. I remember all of this. So some huge nostalgia vibes going on there initially. And then I thought to myself, well, God, Elon Musk turned into the world's richest man and this great entrepreneur. And what did you do, Ryan? So that's kind of how that went here. Nonetheless, all of this pretty interesting. It's really remarkable to look back and see how far we've come. The conversation quickly turned to AI, as you would expect, as the two tech leaders introduced Grok's integration with Microsoft Azure cloud platform. Musk shared insights into Grok 3.5. By the way, I use Grok more and more through the X app, and I feel like it is excellent. It's really sped up. Sometimes I'll just have like a quick question, even if it's about sports or something like that. It really kind of speeds it up. Grok does a great job. Highlighting its foundation and its physics-based reasoning, quote, it's incredibly important for an AI model to be grounded in reality. Yeah, you don't say. I've not seen anyone break the law of physics. Probably a good thing. Musk also highlighted Grok's real-world application in Tesla, SpaceX, and customer service, whereas performance has already shown promise. Quote, you can yell at it and it's still going to be very nice, he joked. Yeah, I haven't moved to this. Like I said, I'm still being nice to AI, just in case. Nadella added, cracking the physics of intelligence is perhaps the real goal for us to be able to use AI at scale. Microsoft has become one of the earliest major cloud providers to offer managed access to Grok through its Azure AI Foundry platform. Microsoft will make both Grok 3 and Grok 3 Mini available with the same service level guarantees it provides for other products. Customers will also receive billing directly from Microsoft, consistent with how other AI models are offered on the platform. However, according to The Verge, this unexpected decision may stir controversy due to Microsoft's strong partnership with ChatGPT creator OpenAI. The report also noted that Nadella has been advocating within the company to bring Grok on board, aiming to position Microsoft as the go-to platform for housing the most widely used AI models. Interestingly, Musk has previously taken pot shots at the partnership between Microsoft and OpenAI and the AI company he co-founded in 2015 but exited in 2018. In 2023, Nadella pushed back on Musk's allegations, saying Microsoft holds a non-controlling stake and describing the relationship as strong. So there you go. More AI stuff. Okay, let's see. What did I miss here? Day Trader says, I would never trade places with Musk. Okay, there you go. I'll say that I probably wouldn't either. The more I think about it, the more I go through life, the less I'd want to trade places with anybody. I like the path I'm carving out. I don't have to be the richest person in the world. I want to carve out my own path, and I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job at doing that. N says, lol, Ryan, we were all small children. It's okay. Oh, I know it was okay. It's just I look back on those times, and I can't help. It makes me laugh. Dragon Slacker says, Copilot will use the holy hell out of Grok. So the AI platform Copilot that Microsoft has likely to use that Grok integration. Interesting. Dragon Slacker goes on to say, I use Perplexity, but do what you need to do. I too use Perplexity. I use Perplexity, Grok, and ChatGPT. I have Perplexity and Perplexity and ChatGPT apps and widgets on my MacBook, so it's really convenient if I'm on the go. And then if I have my phone, because I always have X available there, I just happen to use Grok. It's more out of convenience, really, than I'd be lying if I said the performance is so much better on one of these. Literally, it's out of convenience. I do like Perplexity, the way it kind of lays out the sources. I like the content that it gives me. Maybe it's just the prompts I'm giving it. Maybe I'm just more suited. The way I prompt the AI software, I'm more suited to use Perplexity than ChatGPT. We'll see. Okay. Let's see. I don't think we looked at NVIDIA. I don't really think we need to look at Microsoft necessarily. What the hell? We're here, right? Might as well. Microsoft, look at this. We are approaching a all-time high breakout, 468. The big concern here, like I totally get it. The big concern is it sure looks like this has got a magnet in it to come test this all-time high. But look at the run that we've made. Really far, really fast. This thing totally overcooked here, 77 and change on the RSI. If this falls, there are a couple of really key levels to take a look at. This 426, I think that's what that is, right? 425 to 426. This is going to be the start of the gap, and then that gap filling down here, 396. I understand that we've got the 200-day in there. I don't know if we're going to roll over yet. But it's worth noting here. Microsoft made a huge run really, really fast. I would be entirely unsurprised if it found some type of resistance up here and created some type of double top formation. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening here on Microsoft. I have no position on this one. I would be interested if I got a really good trade setup. We'll see if that ends up shaking out. What kind of tasks are you using Grok for? Jers is asking. Nothing really, no real heavy load. I'm basically trying to use Grok to get information about something without having to go through Google results or go through YouTube. Like one of my prompts yesterday was, which drying towel is the best for automotive detailing? And I'm curious because I actually just got a new drying towel myself, and I wanted to see what the AI said about that. And basically what it did is it produces a list of some of the best ones, and the one that I have was on that. So I also look up sports stats with that a lot, like how many times did X team win such championship? These are fairly, I guess, remedial tests, I guess you would say, Jers. It's not as if I'm having it build anything or anything like that. So let me know, what kind of tasks do you use your AI for? What kind of things do you have it do? I'd be curious on that. Good question, though. All right. What else do we want to talk about here? Looks like, let's see, we've got a couple of minutes here. We'll go through this victory lap. I don't know how much there is to actually trade off this, but this is interesting. Tom Lee cheers on the buy the dip crowd as retail investors pour $4.1 billion into stocks. Tesla, Palantir lead those inflows. I don't think anyone's surprised to see Tesla and Palantir lead those. Congrats to those buying the dip, wrote Fundstrat Global Advisors co-founder Tom Lee on Monday, responding to investor Amit Kirkrija. who shared the retail buying figures. Remember, Tom Lee is often described as a permabull. Some people don't like him. Some people don't like his hair, but he's really kind of been right recently quite a bit. The aggressive purchasing followed Moody's decision Friday to strip the U.S. of its AAA credit rating, citing persistent financial and fiscal deficits and rising debt burdens. The downgrade aligns Moody's with Fitch and S&P, marking the first time all three major agencies have rated the U.S. U.S. debt below the top tier. Tesla recaptured $675 million in retail inflows, while Palantir drew $439 million, according to the data. Single stocks accounted for $2.5 billion in purchases, with exchange traded funds comprising the remaining $1.5 billion. The buying emerged as markets reacted defensively to the U.S. credit downgrade, with the S&P 500 futures falling 1% and the NASDAQ 100 contracts dropping 1.5% on Monday's pre-market. I will say yesterday it felt really heavy in the pre-market. It felt kind of gloomy in the pre-market. And as soon as the market opened, it was like the market was giving two double birds to the Moody's report. That's literally what it felt like all day. Despite market jitters, many analysts view the ratings cut as having a limited long-term impact. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent called Moody's decision, quote, a lagging indicator, end quote, on CNBC, noting the administration inherited a 6.7% deficit to GDP ratio and is determined to bring spending down. So there you go. Tom Lee doing a victory lap there. Anyone surprised that Tom Lee is bullish on things? I don't think so. I don't think so. Tom Lee is pretty much always bullish there. All right. Another story here. Ross Gerber slamming Tesla full self-driving technology ahead of its robo-taxi launch, maintains a bearish view on Elon Musk's EV giant after dumping a 10% stake. Let me just ask you folks, for any of you that can remember, can any of you think of an analyst that was so on one side of the debate and then made such a swift change to the other side, more so than Ross Gerber? He used to be a massive Tesla bull. Now it seems like he just really dislikes Elon Musk, and it happened really fast. It's not as if it happened slowly. Almost feels like it happened overnight. In a post on social media, on X, Gerber shared his issues with the full self-driving tech on board his Cybertruck as the investor hit out at Elon Musk's EV giant on Monday. Thank you, article, for doing that. This comes as Gerber Kawasaki dumped over 26,000 Tesla shares, 10% of the firm's stake, in Q1 2025, according to Business Insider on Monday. Using FSD 13.2.9 on my Cybertruck yesterday, freeway traffic, changing lanes for no reason, and then not changing into the right lane to turn till too late. On top of mapping issues, which is a new Tesla issue. Mapping is off. Google is better. We're launching cabs in 2. All I hear from this is a guy literally just complaining about full self-driving. All of these things I would be worried about. This is the reason why I'm not a huge fan of this. I don't really see this as a gigantic bull case, at least not right now. Just kind of where I'm at with this. Man, oh man. It sounds like Ross is kind of pissed too. Let's see. Where else did I... He also expressed doubts in Musk's promises to investors about robo-taxis at the earnings call. Quote, in fact, what I think is that this could be an extremely difficult time for them if they don't pull off at least convince people that they have real robo-taxi business on the way. Gerber also called Tesla's shares overvalued. I'm going back and remembering the case that he used to make for this, for it not mattering years ago. I've thought it's been overvalued for a while, and I certainly don't care if it gets more overvalued. We own a lot of it, and I can sell more. Gerber's comments come as Tesla is gearing up for its robo-taxi launch, with Musk says we'll see over 10 to 20 Model Ys functioning as robo-taxis on its first day. Day trader here saying Waymo is far ahead of Tesla. We have been talking about some of those stories here recently. Let's see what else folks think here. Gerber's comments come as Tesla. Gerber isn't the only analyst who has doubts over the robotaxi. Future Funds LLC managing director Gary Black also expressed concerns over the company's plans and questioned whether expectations were, quote, too high for the launch. Interestingly, Uber CEO Dari Khosrowshahi has said he isn't concerned about Tesla's robotaxi launch as the ride-sharing company continues to expand its footprint in the AV sector with strategic partnerships. There you go. This is a battle that's brewing, and I'm here for it. I could care less about who wins this because I think self-driving is dumb. We'll see which one it is that ends up winning, and I'll go along for the ride and cheer every aspect of it. Okay. Let's see. It is 8:34 and it's a Tuesday. It's a T3 Tuesday. Let's bring on our guest. I can't wait to ask him. We're going to have Red Dog today. Let's bring on Scott Redler. Put your hands together. All right, Red Dog. First of all, happy Tuesday. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. I know you got to be smiling ear to ear because your Knicks just put the Celtics off their knee. What a series. And now, are you ready for like an old school 90s Pacers Knicks rivalry? How's this going to go?
I think the Knicks win. I actually was. I had tickets for Wednesday, and I was going to go. And my crazy son, who is obsessed with basketball, I was going to go with him, and he's like, "I got 2 tests on Thursday." I'm like, "2 tests on Thursday?" I'm like, "So basically, that's how you're gonna stay home and study, and you don't want to go to the Knicks?" So he's like, "Let's go to the finals." I was like, "All right, the Knicks go to the finals. We'll go then." I know it's a Wednesday night. It's hard to to kind of screw up the week on a Wednesday night, but we'll be watching at my friend's house. He has a projector. We're going to barbecue and we'll do it there. So this way I don't have to go into the city and out of the city.
Makes sense.
But I did poke at Portnoy a little bit, calling, Knicks fans a bunch of jerks and, being adamant about game 4, game 5, game 6 and whatever. Anyway, that's that.
I'm down for a Portnoy Red Dog battle. I'd be down to see that. I just got to say, I grew up in the 90s watching basketball. I grew up watching the Pacers, the Knicks, and of course the Bulls. And I'll say this I'm really happy for you. Sorry, I'm going to take my shot here. I'm really happy for you because there is no Michael to stop this great Knicks team like there was in the 90s. So hopefully you'll end up getting it there. I know the Pacers feel the same way. My money's on the Knicks. We'll see how it goes. I hope your team ends up winning.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
All right, folks, now let's get down to business. Join Scott's free option trading blueprint webinar with Adam Mesh this Thursday at 1 p.m. to learn what's working for the pros right now and why. Redler and Mesh in the same webinar. Folks, hit that QR code. Link is in the description. All right, Red Dog, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Mesh is awesome. He's been doing this a long time. Do you remember Adam Mesh from The Average Joe? He was one of the first original guys who was on a reality show to become famous. Do you remember that show?
No, actually, oh my God, I'm so glad that now I get to ask him about that. I did not remember that. I just know him as being an awesome trader. Every time he comes on here, he's great.
Well, it was funny. They put him as The Average Joe. Meanwhile, he was making $1 million as a trader back in the 90s when people weren't making millions of dollars. But he wasn't like a model like some of the other guys that were on there. And, everyone was rooting for him because, he looked like an average Joe compared to the other guys. And it was funny. And then from there, just, life happened. So always funny how things happen over the years.
That is really. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do some digging and come up with some good questions the next time we have Adam on. That's fun. All right, I see you got the S&P 500 loaded up here. What are you seeing in the SPY?
Well, yesterday was an interesting day. You had the Moody's downgrade. Everyone got the whole weekend to stew over it, and then all of a sudden we opened up in the morning. We held above the 8-day. It reclaimed 589, and people who were thinking this is the start of the down move, they were fading it all day, and they got hurt, and people who were trying to salvage trades were a little upset. And then the funny thing now is that the TLTs are getting a little pressured. The SPYs are down $1.50. I'm hoping that that it's not like predatory where everyone's like, all right, the market's really, really super strong because we absorbed that news. And then all of a sudden, the TLT start working lower and the SPYs get some pressure. And then all the things that kind of looked really good yesterday, get a little weaker. So I'm still in a bunch of stuff and I still have some favorite names. I'm just going to, be a little, just be a little bit on my toes today and not get too aggressive. Yesterday was the day to get aggressive. Today is the day to make sure things could, hang in there the way they did yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it sounds like you're a little bit more defensive today than you were yesterday. I'm glad you brought up the TLT there. That's something that I've been looking for a trade here. I initially, I think it was like 2 months ago, was thinking that the trade there on the TLT is probably to just own it and then sell upside calls against as it really, really struggles to get above its 200 in any meaningful way. I'm curious to hear, what do you see here on the TLT?
Well, everyone who's watching knows the red dog reversal, right? Well, yesterday you basically had a double red dog reversal where yesterday, the 10-year I think was above 5%. Everyone was getting all worried. And I said, hey, if we get below this 85 area, that means, sellers, the algo is going to be programmed probably just to sell equities. The only way we're going to be able to really bounce is if we could reclaim 85, 84, 89. So after a move from 94 or from 90 down to here, it reclaimed that area, and knowing what that meant could have got you along the spies, the Qs, some names, and then, or even this. So this is what we call a red dog reversal. You write down 85. You could have wrote down this low here, which was 85.20. It reclaimed both, so it proved the sellers and the TLTs didn't have power, and it also proved that the market could relieve some pressure. So for today, there's no real setup here except for, the market won't really be that annoyed with the TLTs as long as it stays right around 85.60, or maybe it goes from red to green. That would help the spies. But if all of a sudden it starts getting back down to that area, things can get testy again.
Okay. How about the Qs?
Qs, same as actually, Qs have been acting better than the spies, really. This 515 area got below, reclaimed it really fast. Didn't even get to the 8-day. Look at the 8-day. The 8-day has been so strong. If you would have pressed here at the 8-day, you lost. If you would have pressed here at the 8-day and rolled up shorts, you got crushed. So as long as this 8-day is still support, the momentum's strong, and you want to be looking for better names than looking for retests of lows.
And it looks like that top that you have that we're testing there is 522.53. So I'm assuming you're looking for a move above that.
We'll see. I think today will be an interesting day. Hopefully, rates don't start going up, and things hang in there, because I do like a lot of setups that I'm pretty long, and I want it to get bigger versus sitting around, which we can get to. So as long as we hang in this range, individual stocks can be individual stocks.
Okay. All right. We talked about the SPY. We talked about the Qs. We even looked at the TLT there. How about the IWM? You see any setup here or anything going on with the small caps?
Funny thing is, I've been trying to ignore the IWM because it trades like such sugar honey iced tea. But anyway, there was a little bit of a red dog reversal here at the gap, so I got long last Thursday. I bought some options. Friday, it looked as if we were going to take out the 200 EMA. It was going to finally get a little bit better, and then the Moody's downgrade happened, and obviously small caps need lower rates, not higher rates. So I thought I was going to get obliterated yesterday in the IWM, and it wound up holding here. So I'm long, small
Okay.
IWM. This is my stop. This is 205.39. It needs to hold this gap for me to stay there. If it starts breaking below there, I'm done with that trade.
Okay. Pretty simple there. Good outlook there on the IWM. Okay. I am going to ask you about some of your babies here, of course. But I want to start with UNH. This has really kind of dominated a lot of the trading circles that I've been a part of. Do you have anything on the UNH chart at all that looks interesting to you? Is the bottom in?
Well, UNH, first of all, is not my baby. UNH,
no, I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm
decimated
saving your
trade.
babies for the end.
I got to say, the Alpha team did a fantastic job. I did a decent job. Okay, on this day when it was getting crushed, when it put a low at 248 and was at 252, there were guys on the Alpha team saying, hey, let's get long versus 248. I bought options. I bought options for like $4 to 310s. So then it went into the gap. That was a nice day trade. You don't care what's going on up here. Went into the gap, stayed with the options. I took off my options yesterday for like $12. So I made from 4 to about 12 on the last set. So I did pretty well. Some guys did well in the stock. I didn't trust the stock to be in it. Could have made a lot more in the stock than options because I would have had more size. But anyway, here's your 8-day. I would trim into this spot. I don't think it's an ad. It's up another 6. Okay. So, if catching bottoms are tough. You have to do it calculated, and we did a pretty good job. The Alpha team, that's their job usually, is to find over emotional trades, and that by far was very over emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I asked it for you. Folks, we are with Scott Redler. Join Scott. It's free. Join Scott's free option trading blueprint webinar with Adam Mesh this Thursday at 1 to learn what's working for the pros right now and why. Scan that QR code on the screen. Okay, let's talk about Dash. I know you like DoorDash here. What do we got going on? with Dash?
Dash, I'm in stock and options. I've been riding this thing and it's been on the top of my go-to list since remember that August 5th bottom? Well, on August 5th when we had the bottom, look at that wide range bar showing relative strength.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been, a great stock to trade, a great stock to buy dips. Not a great momentum name. It doesn't love to push through areas and go. It likes to be bought on a dip, and that's what I've been trying to do. I would say if you wanted to be long, you could be long versus 195. But if you look here, look at what's more important, or actually this is the daily chart. Look at the weekly chart of Dash, the weekly chart. What does this look like to you?
That looks like a cup, and it's kind of forming a handle there, and it looks like it's trying to break that trend line and go higher.
So this looks to me like something everybody should stay with in the months ahead and learn how it moves. And if you look at the monthly chart also, look at this. This also looks like a crazy accumulation. Like this
Mhm.
stock only came public in 2021, which a lot of stocks haven't come public in the past 5 years. So this one came public. A little bit of work in here. All the institutions own it. When down days, there's no sellers around. So I think this is a name for traders get to know. It's not Apple and Amazon and
Mhm.
Tesla, but it's a name that I think you get to know. I know a lot of people making a lot of money here, and I'm starting to definitely get a lot more comfortable here. I could see it, I could feel it, and I'm going to try and stay with it. And I do think you have a bit of a wedge, and if you're super active and you don't want to get to know a new name, well, just be long it and put a stop at 195. And if it gets above 206, if the market hangs in there, the next level is 215.
Okay. Awesome outlook there. How about Uber?
Uber's been a great trade also. Uber, broke above that what was it? The 87 area right here. Okay, and then had a nice bull flag being built. I have some options on, I have some stock on. JP Morgan upgraded it today, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
So it's up in a sea of red. Uber right here is up 50 cents, not a whole lot. It was up more before when the futures were a little bit better. So I'd watch it. If it could hold 93 and stay above it, I think that market hangs around. This has a road to 100, and you should be, looking at this one also.
Perfect. I definitely feel like it's got that 100 magnet going. Okay, of course, we can take a look at Tesla if you want. And then the last one that I have for you after Tesla is PanW because it reports earnings this evening.
Yeah, so Tesla was a big trade for the community. Alpha Team was
I'm
all over
sure.
this. We were buying the TSLLs, TSLL calls, power plays had it. And I did reduce into that spot, and I kind of said I want to let it breathe and see if it could hold the 8-day. Yesterday it held 334. It didn't go green like everything else, so I kind of, stayed away. This morning I bought a little TSLL just to be involved and watch it. If you look right now, Tesla is what's it doing? It's up 365 in a sea of red, so it's showing some relative strength. So if the market can hang in there, there's a chance that at some point it tries to take out 351. There was a Morgan Stanley note about its autonomous driving,
Mhm.
about the robo taxis. A little less emphasis on the EV market.
Mhm.
So if people are ready to look past the EV market and go to robotics and go to robo taxis, et cetera, it's trading better. So I try not to overthink it. As long as it's above the 8-day, as long as there's momentum, as long as it's kind of leading, I like to be there. So we'll see what Tesla does today.
Okay, sounds good. And last here, PanW, as mentioned, they report earnings here after hours. Is there anything that you see here in this PanW chart that might help some traders?
Yeah, it's strong. I'm not going to take it. I don't want to
Mhm.
trade the cybersecurity name so great, to be honest. I would think this 205 to 208 area is the area if you
Mhm.
trade it
Mhm.
after hours. If it's like a strong report, strong guidance, it's got to get above this spot. It's above the 8-day. It's not really extended. It's priced for a good report. And then what I would also watch is CRWD because this looks pretty good. CrowdStrike is more of a trader's favorite. And if PANW does really well, I would think that this gets above 445, 455. So, I think you could, if you think, PanW is going to be great, maybe you could go with CRWD because if it's not great, they could be like, oh, CRWD is doing better,
Mhm.
so at least there's a way out if it's not, and then if you know, I would say but if you were going to, if you want this, and you don't have any on and PNW kills it, you're not going to be able to get this. So
Right.
if you're thinking you're going to miss this 445, 455, you got to put a little bit up on, into options wise. Do you like you could do a nice little call spread, or something like that. When's crowds earnings? May 30th. That's next week. So you can put a little bit on, and if it goes nuts, you make some money. If it doesn't do well or it's not enough, then you could buy a dip and wait for crowd's earnings that come up in, like I just said before, which is
10 days, right? Something like that.
Something like that. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Really good breakdown. Ton of stuff here, folks. Join Scott's free webinar, Option Trading Blueprint webinar with Adam Mesh this Thursday at 1 to learn what's working for the pros right now and why. Scan that QR code.
Right, by the way, you're looking like a little svelte. You've been doing your push-ups?
Hell yeah, I've been doing my push-ups. I got 25 knocked out before you came on here today. I got more to do later. And as I was saying when I opened up here, we've got rain here in Chicago. I've got a 14-day streak of hitting all my active targets rolling right now, and I ain't going to let the rain ruin that here today. You can bet your ass.
Well,
so
sometimes running in the rain is very therapeutic. I love running in the rain.
You know what?
Kind of like one with nature. It makes you feel better. I've done a lot of races in the rain where people don't like it, but that's when the going gets tough.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because there have been a couple of times where it's been super cold out there. I'm talking like 4 degrees, single digits, or it's been raining out there, and I'm out there getting my steps, getting my miles.
There you go.
And I got people inside looking at me like I'm crazy. And my thought is, I'm out here working and you're being lazy. So thanks for noticing there. Yes, absolutely. We're on this every day.
That's what builds mental toughness. To outwit other people's doubt. There you go.
That's right. That's right. Hopefully you've got enough mental toughness for tomorrow's game. Enjoy that Knick game. Go Knicks. We'll talk to you next time we catch up with you. All right, Scott?
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Yep. As always, that is Red Dog, folks. Awesome stuff here from Red Dog. Be sure to hit that QR code. Those guys are amazing. Love having all of them on. And this is going to be a fun basketball series. We'll see how it goes. Now, Red Dog's departure, of course, leaves room for 13. Let's check in with 13. 13, how you doing, my man? Is it raining down there in Texas by you or no?
No, but it is cloudy.
Okay.
Got a nice overcast in the sky. Still enough sun is peeking through to light up my room here, but it's looking like we could get some rain, but not yet.
Okay. We'll see where that goes. Dragon Slacker here. Ryan could run the Fed better and more enthusiastically than Powell, who's on his exit tour. This is one of the nicer things somebody said to me. I don't think I could run the Fed. I don't think I'd want to run the Fed. But I could definitely do it with more enthusiasm than Jay Powell. That is for damn sure, bro.
I think you could run the Fed, but I don't think you'd want to, is what I was
There you go. I appreciate you. Okay. All right. Really good stuff here. We're having a fun morning already. My gosh, it is almost 9 o'clock already. 13, do you want to knock out any of those movers? I do have a list of some stocks to take a look at here. 2 of them might actually be on the movers list. What do you say we just start there and then morph into whatever else you want?
Because it's, the list is okay, but I'm more interested to find out what everybody wants us to take a look at. So yeah, let's get through the movers.
Okay, let's do it right now. I'm going to flip over to that right now, excuse me. We're going to start here. NRXS. I saw a couple of you mentioning this while we were talking to Redler there. This is Neuraxis. I actually didn't cover this one or look at this one when I was looking through the movers list earlier prior to the show starting. Neuraxis shares are trading higher after the company announced it received an FDA 510K clearance regarding IB-Stim for the treatment of pediatric FAP associated with functional dyspepsia and FD-related nausea symptoms. That was a mouthful here. So, okay, this thing spiked. Looks like it printed all the way up to 7, came back to its VWAP. Good news here is that it held its VWAP, tried to bounce. Volume numbers look pretty good here. On average, this stock is a ghost town. Normally trades 28,000 shares. Today, we've traded 24.5 million. Should be no trouble getting in and out of this thing if it stays voluminous here today. 0.32% of its float shorted, so nothing there. 1 day to cover, nothing there. We're easily going to be able to cover all that up given the volume that we have here today. 13, was this one of the ones that you looked into here? You got anything for us on this?
Yeah, this is the top one that was on my list today. I received the FDA 510K clearance. That's basically where it's a notification that if there's a device that's already out there and you've created a better one, that you basically get this streamlined process where the device is at least safe to use as the last one before it was. So they are getting a clearance for that for their IB stim. They may have an offering on the table. I was looking back through their newsfeed, and it looks like back in December they had put an offering out there because the company does need cash. So I haven't seen that, or I haven't seen anything that shows that they executed that or not. So that could still be on the table. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to read through it and see if that offering had expired or not. So I don't know if it's on the table or not. Either way, they're going to need cash. The company does have 4.75 million shares in the float. Look at the stock right now. It is trading above VWAP, but it has not done a whole lot since the impulse move that took it all the way up to 701. So I think for me, if we just wait and see what happens into the open, we're going to want to see this hold above VWAP. That should set it up to go higher. If we do lose VWAP, then we're going to have to wait and see where it bottoms before we decide to take a trade in this one. That's NRXS.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's spot on here. We are seeing that volume declining. The volume, I think, is going to tell the story here. Great that we're holding above the VWAP, but for a new trade here, we're going to want something to really kind of trigger that trade. And I'm just not sure that we have it yet. Really good stuff there, 13. Next on the list here is going to be SYTA. This is Sciata Mobile. This is one that this show should be familiar with. For a while. This actually started moving on Thursday of last week, had a little bit of a move higher, was kind of boring. It did catch some of your guys' attention. Then we spiked, then the very next day on that Friday, we basically had a staircase higher followed by a big spike later in the day. That spike gave us a trade setup on Monday of this week. That ended up going higher. We went higher in the after hours still, and now we're higher in the pre-market here today. So this thing just on an absolutely massive run. With the last piece of news we have was from Thursday, May 15th. That was the Core Gaming's AI designed to know exactly what game users are playing and what users will play next. This is basically a data farming PR for their mobile game. I don't understand why this really kicked off a huge run here. Bernhard's asking, cannot see why SYTA has been moving the past few days. The only thing that I can come up with, we had kind of this odd PR. Okay, maybe there's a data angle here that they can go after. You will notice, though, that the day that this initially traded up, we had a little bit of increased volume, but every day thereafter, or the 2 days thereafter, the volume just built on itself. So to me, it sure seems like relative volume players and scans are picking this name up, and we're getting a little carry through here the next day. That would be my best guess just by simply looking at what's going on here. Let's take a quick look at the short interest here. 3.19% of the float shorted. And actually, yeah, we're going to be due for an update here pretty soon on that. 1 day to cover, that's negligible. 5.24 million shares as its 100-day average. Today, we're doing 27 in the pre-market here. Float of about 3.5 million. 13, what are you thinking here in SYTA?
Well, this wasn't one of the ones I covered in depth too much, but I did see that it was running, so I did take a quick look at it. I think one of the things that we might want to read through, and I don't know if the answer is in there or not, is that that same day that you were mentioning, Thursday the 15th, they had a Form 6K that they issued that is going to have discussion on their financial results of their most recent earnings report. So there might have been something in there that could have sent it up. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just thinking out loud here because when I'm looking through the news, and I don't see a whole lot that would cause it to go on a run. Like it has, unless there was something about their merger that it was mentioned in the Form 6 that is sending this up. So I don't know exactly why it's going up. In the same boat as many of y'all are, but if I had a little bit more time, I bet I could find the answer, and I would start with that Form 6. I'm thinking there might be something in there.
So I just started skimming it ever since you brought it up. Looks like the revenue actually declined a little bit. That about stayed the same. Liabilities declined a little bit, but I don't see anything else in here. Gross profit declined a little bit from 2024 to 2025. So I'm not really sure.
It's statements made by the.
Yeah, I would probably have to comb it a little bit closer, but at least that's something else that we can go through here. In any case, SYTA, I mean, look, market is telling us it's on deck here again. In reality, this is the biggest volume that we've seen in the pre-market since this thing started moving. So I would kind of be careful here. As far as a key level, I'm definitely looking at 6. This almost served as resistance yesterday. It served as support here and resistance, it looks like, here today. 7 should also be some resistance. We have the VWAP here at 636. What's up, 13? What'd you spot?
So I mentioned that they're merging with another company. They're merging with Core Gaming, $160 million deal. So when I had mentioned that, I thought that there could be something regarding that in that 6K. So this deal is actually supposed to close this quarter.
Okay.
So this could be. I've seen this before with some mergers. They start getting bid up or bought up,
before the deal closes. Yeah.
Right. So that's what could be happening here. They're supposed. I don't have an exact date, but second quarter. We're got about 40 days left, folks. So that's about the best I got for now.
Good stuff. Smoke Tuna. Bonjour. Good morning. SYTA is running for another reason. The AI model picked it last week.
The merger, probably.
Tuna's
coming up.
Look, I am going to start citing Tuna's AI model as a catalyst. I think we've reached that point now. We might have to do that. SYTA here, definitely on deck for today. Okay, next one here is going to be EYEN. This is Ionovia. This did have some news here. They reported earnings last night. They provided an update on their potential merger. So it's not in stone yet, but they provided an update on that, and they reported first quarter results. This was a beat on the EPS. Looks like it was a beat on sales there. And the development of the Optejet user-filled device says the company continues to negotiate a binding merger agreement. They've agreed to extend the binding exclusivity period set forth in the letter of intent until June 7th. So my read on this, at least on the surface, 13, I'm curious to see if you have anything on this. My read on this is that they're definitely trying to get this done, kind of extending the deadline here, maybe just kicking the can down the road. I don't know that this is, this definitely seems like a positive, so I understand why the market is trading this up 54% here today. Do you have anything on this, on the earnings report, the merger, or otherwise?
Company needs cash, so I can understand why they'd want to merge. I think when I was looking at it, they did have like $3.5 million in the bank, but they lose many millions more than that every quarter. The binding exclusivity period being extended out until June 7th, that kind of creates another catalyst for this. So that'll be something to watch for with ION. Other than that, no, they just had earnings. Apparently, they didn't lose as much as everybody thought they would. Revenues, I mean, it's $14,000. It's wonderful, I guess. 2.8 million shares in the float. Really, it's going to come down to the merger with this company. I think that's the best thing it's got going for it. Looking at the chart here, underneath its VWAP has not been able to go back up to the 232 high that we got in the pre-market, and it's still. Actually, it's looking like it might be trying to turn around. So let's see what happens out of the open here. If we can recapture that VWAP out of the open, this might trade a little bit better. So the MACD is starting to curl. Let's see if we can get back up towards that VWAP as we approach the open here.
Okay, producer wants to know, are you eyeing up this trade?
I am eyeing any setups for sure.
Okay. ION on ticker EYEN. All right, good stuff there. Next on the list here, I have as QIPT, Quipt Home Medical. Stock did pop as high as 2, although it's kind of backed off of that. Volume has actually been pretty consistent across the pre-market. Now, I don't see anything here. We got this. Okay, no, never mind. We got a 13D last night, but I didn't go through this one.
Forager Fund LP is this.
Yeah, so it looks like they're taking a 9.7% stake here. That's driving this higher by 32%.
Now, producer did mention that there was something about this being marked for a takeover, for being bought out for at a large premium, like in the $3 range. I didn't spend enough time on this to find that information, but if what he's telling us is somewhere in here, then this has a here. Let me see if I can just pull it up because he mentioned it. So on May 17th, 2025, FCM submitted a non-binding offer to buy all the outstanding shares of Quipt in cash for $310 shares. So that's 120% premium over the 141 closing price on May 16th. So May 17th, I don't see that information here. It must be somewhere else.
It's got to be in this form.
Okay.
That's where he's getting it from. Guaranteed. That's where he's getting it from.
But anyway, so that's 310 could be the possible high end of this. So, we could trade it with that in mind, but we're looking at it right now. Let me just see here. We're kind of just hanging out at VWAP or above VWAP. So this one actually, if we can get back over 2, this might trade better. I'm a little concerned about where the price is at right now, because before we had this 205, this random pop up here. And
here it
then,
is.
at 705. This was starting to double top. Sorry.
We were exactly right. It's right here in the form.
Okay.
It's actually near the bottom here. This is exactly what you were asking about. So there we go. All right, sweet. Did that live here. Good morning, Fairchild. It's great to see you. Along with Jay Rice, Mo, Tom, Beach Bum, and Judge, and Peen, and Jay Wild, and Market Sniper. All right,
and everybody.
Here. Yeah, I was going to say, I might as well just say hello, everybody. But I like saying hello individually. I don't know. I was raised that way, so I just kind of like that. It's hard for me to break that. Okay, edible. I know that this is one that we've traded here before, so I guess it's worth mentioning here. Mama Bear. Sorry. Good morning, Mama Bear. We cannot forget Mama Bear. Otherwise, we're going to get our face clawed off. We don't need that.
She's my favorite Bernstein Bear.
EDBL, edible garden here. This actually spiked as high as 320. We've come in and we've actually lost the VWAP here as we get close to the open. I suppose that's notable here. Let's see if there was any news on this. Indeed, Edible Garden launches Kick Sports Nutrition on Amazon, partners with Piranha to accelerate brand growth. Okay, not familiar with what that is, and I've never Kick Sports Nutrition. I'm just trying to see if this is like a healthy nutrition drink. It's gotta be.
Or is this like more of a sports gear? No, it's a food product thing.
In a market saturated with artificial additives and hard to pronounce ingredients, Kick stands by our offering clean label, functional formulas designed to fuel peak performance. That's what I was trying to get to. So it looks like this is probably more of a clean energy drink than some of those ones that feel like they make your heart gonna explode. Anyway, Edible Gardens here, ticker EDBL. This is up 26%. Quick look at the short interest here. 7.63% of the float shorted with 1.37 days to cover. That comes on an average volume that's just shy of 100,000 shares. So really kind of illiquid here. Today we've traded 18.5 million. Should be no trouble here. What do you got here, ticker EDBL?
Well, company needs cash. So might be a possible raise coming. Don't know if it's today or whenever it is, but they do not have the amount that they lose on their balance sheet every quarter. So for me, I'm thinking this might not be a great one today. It might be better once we get a little bit more weakness, because right now I'm looking at the chart and the trajectory is to the downside. Might find some support around 230 or 215. That's about the best that I've got on this one. Didn't this have a cannabis angle at one point?
Yeah, I believe it did, right? There were like edible cannabis things. Yes, that I remember that. I remember this being part of the cannabis plays, frankly.
Okay. Looks like this was also a recompliance play. Last month they regained NASDAQ compliance. So this one kind of teetering on the edge there between being able to be listed or not. It's not looking like it has a great balance sheet, but a little bit of PR could make this thing move. So. And that partnership with Piranha is helpful. But for the purpose of trading this today, we're already beneath VWAP, and I need to see some kind of a bottom first, because this is still moving down.
Okay. Really quickly, we're going to cover MLGO next. But before we do, because we are kind of running out of time here, and I do have some other stocks that folks wanted to take a look at, and I don't want to ignore them. I'm noticing that there's a bunch of quantum names on the list as well.
Yep.
QBTS, D-Wave quantum shares are trading higher after the company announced it launched Advantage 2 quantum system to address problems in optimization, AI, and market simulation. QUBT is also trading up, and it doesn't look like this was quantum computing to participate in JP Morgan's Qubit series fireside chat. When is that? That's going to be today. Okay. No wonder. So there is a quantum fireside chat here today. looks like it's moving all of these names. LAES, this also has a quantum angle. We talked about this one yesterday. This moving again here today. Rigetti, all of the
Ionic.
former ones that, Ionic, all of those AI names are on the list here. So that's all related to this D-Wave headline that we put there on the screen.
There's a second thing that they all have in common too. High short interest.
Yeah.
They are squeezing too.
Okay.
Every single one of them has a short interest, a short float is like it's like somewhere between 15 and 25 for most of these.
Okay. So that's pretty impressive. We just covered 6 or 7 on the list that quickly. That's what's going on with some of the quantum names. I'm sure we're going to check into these here today. Now, let me go back to MLGO because this is an ex-girlfriend du jour. This thing recently has made a whole bunch of really good moves. They have a PR here this morning. MicroAlgo researches quantum machine learning algorithms to accelerate machine learning tasks. So now we're going to get a PR here about AI, quantum, tying the whole thing in here. I guess we're entirely unsurprised to see MLGO do this. Quick look at the short interest before we take a look at the chart and have 13 break it down like a fraction for you. 29.7% of the float is shorted here. That is on 1 day to cover. The 100-day average volume is 29.9 million, so just about 30 million. In the pre-market here, we've traded 11.5 million. Floats 9.8, 13. What do you got on this?
It seems like this will just move on any kind of PR.
Yeah.
Because, it had last week, it was, it had an announcement. It unveiled quantum information recursive optimization, just a total word salad thrown at investors. And everybody's like, oh, buy it up. Same thing last week. Announces research on quantum visual computing. I'm sure it ran then. This thing will run on anything, and then it'll just make a whole new generation of bag holders. Trade this if you want to, take that risk. But this is the one that I tend to stay away from. It looks like today, where we got 159, 160. That's coming up to a bit of a consolidation area from the pre-market and after hours yesterday and the day before, so Friday and Monday. We break through that, looking like we could see 180s, but I don't even know if it'll go that high. This thing is just, this thing is a massive risk.
Yeah, I think the big thing here is that we probably want to wait out the open here. If I scroll back, the last day that this had significant volume in the pre-market, like it does here today, was right here on Wednesday, May 7th. And if I zoom into that, we had a pop in the pre-market. This thing bled in the pre-market. And as soon as the market opened, they started playing TLC's waterfalls. And this thing just went lower as it completely traded back down. So I think we can be patient on this one. I don't think there's any rush to this. If it sets up, it sets up. Great. But I don't think there's anything that we need to do now on this one.
I feel like you'd make more money betting on whether or not MLGO will go up or down on any given day than actually trading the stock.
Okay, that says something there. Ticker BON. This is this is another one on the list. I did want to really quickly talk about Bull. Anyway, ticker BON. This is Bond Natural Life. This is popping here in the pre-market, already bleeding. Take a look at what this has done the last several times. This has been a total head fake on that pop. Did we have any news on this here today? No news. Up 11.5%. Be careful, ticker BON.
They did a 1 for 25 reverse split last week. And then they had a whole bunch of halts on Friday. This thing was really moving on Friday, it looks like. But I don't know why it's moving today.
Yeah. Okay, the next thing I wanted to mention here, we talked a little bit about LAES. That's not moving on the quantum angle. Bull, this is Webull. This is one that our show's been looking at for a while. This is up 7.72% here today on no news. Quick look at the shortage. Okay, we actually don't have the reading there on the short interest. Volume looks fairly normal here. Huge float on this one. Webull's trading up here in the pre-market. I'm not really sure there's anything going on. Did you have anything on this one, or can we really quickly talk about Pony?
For Webull, if there's going to be anything happening here with this one and you're looking for a resistance area, you have the 20-day SMA at 1568. That could be probably one of the only possible ones we hit today.
Okay, good stuff there. Pony, this is also trading up here. Pony, another shout out to Smoke Tuna. He was really early on this call. This thing has been great for a number of days. And here we are getting jiggy in the pre-market with some nice volume. We did have a pop up towards 20 there. Now we had earnings here on Pony this morning, as well as the conference call. Looks like looks like this was a mixed report. Oh no, this actually. This actually looks good. I'm not familiar with ePads. Q1 adjusted ePads, a 10-cent loss versus a 28-cent loss year over year. Sales were 13.98. That's up from 12.52. This actually seems like a pretty good quarter here. Reports strong Q1 2025 growth and announces new autonomous driving system. So this also joining the robo-taxi craze. I guess we can call it that. Yeah. Anyway, pretty decent earnings report here. Pony plus 6%. Let's take a quick look at the short interest. 3.87% versus 1 day to cover. And you have an average volume of 8 million. We've traded 2 million here. Floats 140 million. You got anything on Pony here? Does this look intriguing to you at all?
Well, because I can't look at the income statements, not really.
Gotcha.
I'd really like to know what, if the figures that they're posting here kind of match up, or if I can identify any trends, from past quarters, but don't have any information on that. So really can't draw anything there. But okay. I thought I saw something interesting about the chart. So you could draw a trend line on the daily chart from February's high to through May's high we just had last week. And that's the trend line to break. I don't know that we'll get up there, but we did recently just have a silver cross on last Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. But the RSI is just a little elevated, so there could be a move up to this trend line, and then it comes back in. But we just need to see some better volume in this. I don't know if we'll end up seeing. I'm thinking 20, but I don't know if we'll end up seeing that or not.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there on Pony Eye. Did you have any other movers that we didn't cover? Did we get them all?
No, sir.
Okay. Sweet. Let's go back to the chart tool here. We can do ticker time now. I do have a list. I didn't see some of them. So I'm going to start here with BLMZ. I think this came from Ryan earlier. Ryan, generally speaking,
this is the other mover that's not over $1.
Yeah. So generally speaking, we don't focus. That's what I should say. We don't focus on penny stocks here. This is why you might see us miss some of these. This one is moving here pretty. I mean, this was 10 cents yesterday. It's 26 cents here today. It's up 160%. I generally stay away from this because I just end up crying at the end of the day when I try trading these things. It never really works out for me. BLMZ moving here, plus 160%. We did have no news. In fact, our last piece of news was in March. So play this one at your own risk.
Yeah, this one you have a bit of a trend line here based on all this upside move we've had in the pre-market. Looks like this, all pre-market. So you could draw a trend line on the underside of it. If we lose this trend line, I think it ends up trading lower. One level to watch out for that if I was trading this one, I'd be keeping my eye on 29 cents. We've had multiple attempts to get through that this morning so far. No results yet. Just high prints, but no closes above 29 cents. So 29 cents is the level I'd be watching for if we can break through it or get rejected.
Okay. So really quickly here, Drew, I appreciate this. I'm sorry that this happened to you, but I appreciate you sharing this. I got killed on BLMZ, a complete fake out. Seems to happen more often than not on some of the penny stocks, at least the ones I take a look at. So that's what's going on there. Dragon Slacker. Penny stocks are disgraceful, and we script cryptocurrency in here. I do actually prefer cryptocurrency to penny stocks, all jokes aside. Saad here saying, can you talk about big cap companies which are moving up or we're expecting to move up? We do that every single day here. I've been going for the last hour and 20 minutes, and these are really the first penny stocks that we have talked about. So part of me wonders if you just joined right here. If so, that's kind of unlucky because 90% of this show has been about those big cap stocks. And yes, of course, we will get back to those. Of course we will. Next one here on the list from viewers, I might add, Airship, ticker AISP, AISP. This is one that we have traded a whole bunch. Here we've made a bunch of jokes about this one. Here's what the daily chart looks like. Clearly it's being held under the 500-day. We're currently making a run for that. This tells me the last two times we did this, we got mutomboed here. So we want to see if we can get above this, hold above this before anything changes. Otherwise, we're going to be in the same trend here. I think if we get rejected to this, your next target realistically could be that $3.50, maybe $4 on a move back down. If we break above this, Maybe we can start challenging some of those recent highs, maybe $7, maybe 768. 13, what do you think? Oh, you know what? Let me take a quick look at the short interest here. Look at this. Last reading that we had on this, 71.66% of the float is shorted here. Days to cover of 5.18. You think there's some squeeze potential here? I sure do. Float 2.9 million. 13, what do you think? AISP Airship.
Well, I think the move you're seeing here today is from relative volume, because the big move was happening yesterday, and that's where you had a big change in the volume compared to the average. So if there is going to be more upside here, I think that you were pretty right on with that 500-day SMA. That's been the site of multiple rejections. And being that we're already extended here on the daily RSI, it's over 71 already. If there is any upside, I think that the 500-day is probably where I'd be the most comfortable with, getting out and taking all the gains. Because after that, I feel like we could end up seeing another one of these, regression to the mean. So it just comes right back down to where it started. So if there is any more upside, I definitely would peg the 500-day SMA. That's at about just under $6, and then move on to something else, because this thing has the potential to go in and burn pretty quickly.
Okay, good stuff there. AISP. Okay, next one here. Simmer down, big cap folks. That's where we're going. Sezzle is the next one here. This chart is literally just a vertical wall. I rarely do we see stocks that move this vertically. I can't even think of another word here, because vertical is the word that keeps on jumping out here. Sezzle, just a massive move higher here. This is up by another quarter here in the pre-market. To me, despite this huge move higher, this completely overcooked RSI here at 86, with us being only $1 away from 100, I got to think 100 prints are on deck here for today. Now, what happens after that, I don't know. Frankly, what I would think should happen here, a little bit of a pullback. Let's reset some of that stuff. 13, you tell me if you think that's going to happen. I don't have any other news here. I guess we did get a Form 144 after hours yesterday.
Yeah, I hate to get in front of this, because this thing is just, a runaway train. But I'm looking at the RSI. I'm looking at how far away it is from the 20-day SMA. And I'm just like, this thing looks like an absolutely fantastic short. But shorts have been getting killed. So, there's a lot of risk here to doing this. But man, at 40, almost 43% away from the 20-day SMA, the current price, it's just so juicy of a short trade that it seems like that might be the way to go here. I don't know where this is going to end up going. Maybe it does go to 100. We're literally 20 cents away in the pre-market. So sure, it could go to 100. And then let's see this come back in, because as you pointed out, it seems very extended. I think this might be one of the greater short plays that we could that we could consider. But you tell me.
So this is what makes it difficult. And I'm going to highlight a couple of great comments here from the chat. Kevin here saying, when you see a vertical move like this, it could reverse the same way. Kevin, you're exactly right. This is one of the reasons why we're kind of looking at this for a potential short trade. But it's important to remember, as Anthony was mentioning here, Sezzle already cooked all of the shorts. So the whole thing here is that if you're going to do this, you really have to be careful. We talk a lot about stops on this program. We talk a lot about protecting capital, being safe, the whole 9 yards, all of that. It is paramount if you are taking a short on something like this. Like, I get it. To me, if someone sat me down and said, you have to trade SEZL today, I'd say, okay, I'd be looking for a short entry on this. I really would. But at the same time, remember how it got here. The shorts helped it get here, because as Anthony is mentioning here, they got cooked. They got dragged out and body bagged here on this move higher. So just be careful, have a stop. Be sure that if your position doesn't go as anticipated, you have some type of recourse to get out of that. Looking at this, though, I think first move back down here, an 85 handle makes a lot of sense, just for the purpose of cooling off. I mean, the stock is $99 this morning. The 200-day moving average is 41.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it is so far, so fast. I just can't tell you. Yes, I can't tell you with any certainty that, yes, today is the day that it reverses. But Charles, you let me know how you're looking at this. Are you long this? Are you looking to sell into this move? If you're long this, I would absolutely be paying yourself on the way up here. You don't have to sell your whole position if you have a really bullish view on this, but man, oh man, vertical move like this, count your lucky stars, sell into some of that, get some of those gains booked.
Yeah, I like because Kevin was mentioning how to the left of the sizzle chart tells a story. The story that it really kind of tells me is that this thing didn't really get a whole lot of attention until the beginning of last year, because this thing was like this had almost no volume. And then
I want to say 13. I want to take that from you, and I want to amend that. I want to say that this thing really got hot when Tim Melvin came on here and recommended it, and I believe that day was September 18th.
Of 2024.
Yep. September 18th of 2024. That was a Wednesday. That was a Tim Melvin day. This stock split adjusted was $26.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I remember this. Because I didn't know a lot about this company. It was buy now, pay later, not my favorite theme, as y'all folks know. And Tim was recommending. I was like, I'm going to try some of this. I think I paid like $150 for it, sold it at like $200. And I was like, damn, this is great. And then it went ballistic to like 4 something, and I was wish I still had some of that, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles here. Split adjusted, this thing was an absolute massive winner for us. It's come really far real fast. The next trade I'd be looking for here is in a short. Not brave enough to do that. Charles, you let me know. Anyone else, let me know how you're looking to trade this here. Okay, sorry.
I was just going to say, and you got 2 opportunities in this following Tim Melvin's comment, because this thing ran up into like almost $80, and then it had a big 68.5% discount, courtesy of Liberation Day, and now we're ripping back up. Since that day, we're up 289%. Since Liberation Day.
Yeah, just incredible.
Or the result of Liberation Day from April 7th is what I was looking at. But anyway.
All right, next one. I know you guys are talking about Tesla. I guess he's speaking right now. Dugan here. This to me, this is great. Someone is going to short Tesla with Elon speaking. My answer to this is no. I'll tell you what. Real quickly, how much? We don't have a lot of time. I'll be very quick. I learned an important lesson. I was bearish on Tesla for a long time because I thought fundamentals mattered for that company, and it just continued to prove that they didn't. I remember there was one point where I was watching them first trying to land a reusable rocket on a barge in the middle of the ocean. And I remember walking away from that thinking to myself, okay, Ryan, here's a fairly remedial trading rule. Don't short companies that are successfully landing rocket boosters on barges in the middle of the ocean, because there's probably easier shorts out there to go after. Just don't do it. And you're mentioning Elon speaking here. I mean, this company does so many crazy things here. If Elon is set to speak, there's no way I'm going to try shorting that. No way. I'm with you on this one. This to me, just self-preservation, right? Just don't even try to get blown out by shorting this company. Elon says crazy things that can make the stock do crazy things. So just be careful there. Okay.
Real quick, if you can go to Tesla and put a horizontal line at 350, and then go to like a 5-minute chart and look, see if you can have a view so you can look at the past like 5 days. 350 is the spot.
Okay, let me try to do this. Coordinates. Let's go up to 350.
Yeah, so then if you look at like a 5-minute chart.
And then go back to the 5. Here you go.
Now look at
dude.
So that's where the breakout spot is. 350, folks. If we can't get through that today, I think we go down.
And here we go. Without me having even drawn that, Dugan said, yep, watching for a break of 350. Dugan, go get it. Go get it. Let's see what Tesla does. Remember, shout out to this group. I know a lot of you folks trade the actual ETFs here, right? TSLL, TSLZ, TSLT, some of those levered ETFs. Okay, good stuff there on Tesla. 3 minutes here. We're going to do Palantir next, ticker PLTR. Palantir, just stop me if you've heard this before, continues to trade higher. This did pull back a little bit off the highs that it made on Wednesday of last week. Up 1% here today. I think this probably trades with the market here, although I guess the market's a little bit weaker than Palantir here today. We didn't have any news on this, did we? Never mind. Palantir and Divergent form partnership to revolutionize on-demand advanced manufacturing. That is from today. Okay. Strategic partnership with Divergent Technologies.
Looks like there's a bit of a trend here over the past several days. If you look at a 5-minute chart, Wednesday had a spike up to a high of like I was 133. I took that and I drew a line through this morning's highs around 7:15. I guess that's about one of the earliest areas that I'd be looking for a break, which is also kind of in line with this consolidation that we've had with the same time frame since Tuesday. So there's a bit of a consolidation that we're trading into, but this break of the trend line, I think we can get to the top of the consolidation at least, which is about 130.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. Here, sorry, I'm taking a screenshot for one of my teammates here. Let me go back to the chart. Okay, Palantir, we've got less than a minute. We got to do this quickly. Philip wanted to take a look at Take-Two. Philip had a very specific question here, too. What are your thoughts on Take-Two with the release of Grand Theft Auto 6 next year? So I haven't played the Grand Theft Auto series in a long time. I feel like someone will have to tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like from reading that might be kind of slowly losing its momentum as a series. Is that true or not?
I wouldn't say that. I would only say that it's been delayed, and it's been taking a long time since Grand Theft Auto 5 has come out for 6 to come out. So there's a lot. I mean, we're talking like years and years between the two. So I don't know if that's like what I would be leaning on. They have other games that they have in the pipeline. I think that's going to help the company continue to go on. We're open, by the way.
Okay, let me go to the main workspace here. Philip, my view on this is that this might be a sell the news event. But as I just admitted to you, I'm kind of disconnected from this video game franchise and really video games as a whole, as I just play less and play more golf.
If there's anything here like a pullback, I think a pullback you might want to take a look at 215. That might be the spot where it gets some support. That's the earliest level I see anyway.
Okay.
All right.
BLMZ, that penny stock that you forced me to look at here, it looks like it's trying to go higher.
Quit. That's coming up here. That's pushing up.
That looks like that might break out here. You're right.
205 is the pre-market high. It's headed right for it, knocking on the door and through. This was the one that has the potential to get bought for $310 a share.
Okay, I'm going to roll through the list here real quick, and then I'll get back to some of my teammates there. Sorry, folks, you're going to have to wait a sec. NRXS, this is one that we had taken a look at here. This actually does look like it's losing that flag that it was holding. This is pretty important. I would say if this rolls over, we kind of want to wait that one out.
Losing VWAP in the process, but this candle still has about 3.5 minutes left, so it could come back up. I think we need to wait and see what happens to this candle, but it looks like it wants to try to go. And if it is, it's going to bust through 610.
SYTA here, this dipping from that VWAP here right out of the open. LAES dipping. Looks like a lot of the movers are trading back, except for MLGO. Looks like that's trying to go higher here. Go figure.
Yeah, I think QIPT is if they're going to ride this momentum up to 310, that might be worth the ride, but we'll see. MLGO, this thing, gosh, I feel like this is about to pull right here. But if it gets through 168, then it might go on a bit of a run. I'm not trying this one at all.
So SATX, this is that $3 takeover that you talked about, right? SATX?
No, that's QIPT.
Okay, well, what's going on here? SATX.
I don't know what SATX is. We didn't cover that one.
Yeah, no, I just noticed it's moving here. SATX and MDA to amend merger agreement, increasing consideration to $3 a share.
Oh, okay, so they are going to do $3 for that one as well.
that might just, yeah, that's just lucky or unlucky, I guess, depending on how you look at it. Okay. Also, let's take a look here at Tesla. Tesla's ripping out of the gate here. There's your 350. We're through.
All right.
So, okay, so now that 350 is down here and we're pushing higher, 352 now, what's the next spot? And you think we hold this? Looking at the chart here, got to think 360-ish?
Yeah, because 360 is where I've been saying for a while that I think that goes up to, and then 325 is where you're going to want to watch for support. So 360 and 325 are my levels for a range, but we were looking at 350 today, and I noticed that over the past several trading days, 350 has been in the resistance area, it's been trying to get through. So here we are, we're pushing up to 360. Folks are saying it's 370, so they thinking a little bit higher. That's fine. That's totally fine. And it looks like NRXS is trying. This is why we needed to wait for that candle to finish, because here we are with another minute and 20 seconds left, and it's back above VWAP now. Still not looking the greatest though. MLGO, it's coming right back in just like we thought it would. Blooms, that went up to 33 cents, so you did get that break over 29. That's what you needed. And what else is going on here?
NRXS is trying to hold in there.
Yeah.
Lobo is back. Where's Jay Rice? Lobo's back.
Lobo.
Just kidding. Goodfella? Yes, Goodfella thinks 370, your target there for Tesla.
Yeah, he was saying 370.
Okay.
And, that's fine. I'm looking at 360. He's looking at 370. We're both looking higher than what it is now.
You guys were mentioning SPCB. Something was going on while we were running through the pre-market content there. Excuse me. Wow. SPCB, this looks like it had a huge move higher here in the pre-market. You want to talk about fake out. Yikes. Secures new contract in Virginia. Rapid U.S. expansion continues. A new electronic monitoring contract in Virginia to immediately deploy pure security electronic monitoring technology. Okay. So it looks like that PR popped the stock. It really came back in on that, though. Wonder what the short interest is on this. 11.86% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover there. Okay, Supercom, that's a 3.4 million share stock, and it's only traded 250,000 shares here so far today. So not the most liquid name. Be careful with that.
Come on, 5-minute chart. Let's go.
Is yours not loading too?
No, it's not.
Yeah, okay. Let me report that as well.
MetaPlanet is the MSTR of Japan, but only trades on over. Oh, that's fine if it trades on over the counter. I mean, Nintendo trades OTC, and I owned that for a while. I don't own it anymore because I was playing it because I liked the dividend when it was at a lower price. Now it's not as attractive, but still like the company.
It looks like that was just a hiccup. Mine are back 13. Hopefully, I think that was just a hiccup. I don't see any outage stuff. Okay, SYTA looks like this reversed its turn here. Did take out that VWAP. Let's see if this goes higher here. Next breakout spot. I think I got it 640 here. SYTA.
Line is saying UNH and Humana continue to run up.
Okay. We asked about those earlier, so it looks like we still have a long bias here. Now, UNH has sold off out of the open. It is holding higher here by about 0.5%.
Looks like we're
tell you what,
selling.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, market is moving down here a little bit. S&P futures down 0.35% here. Seems fairly orderly. Let me get you that advancers to decliners, minus 655 right now. So that actually never went positive, and your tick here is negative, but it's very small. There's nothing notable there on the tick chart.
UNH might be opening red here, but I still don't think that this rebound, this reversal is finished. I still do think that we could eventually see some lower prints, but I don't think we've had enough of a reversal yet. I still think there's more upside, but we'll see. We'll see what we get.
Okay.
EDBL, this thing now finally starting to get going here. It moved back up to its VWAP, at least my VWAP. So this,
sorry, 13. Let me just jump in here real quick. I missed this earlier. I apologize. Chris, short UNH 317 and 3/4 here. You got 3 points on this already. Looks like you had 5 points there just a second ago. Chris, I don't think I saw you close this. I hope I'm not jinxing you, but I'm going to give you a register ring there. Okay, so you're sorry. I preemptively did that. 309.86, your target on that UNH short. That was a good move there. Good move there.
So EDBL, this thing coming up to VWAP, MACD is curling. This is looking like we may end up getting probably 3. I don't know how much more after that. QIPT, I mean, that popped up to 220 and then came back down to the high of the pre-market. So that kind of going sideways right now. Hopefully some folks captured some gains there. And then NRXS, that's trying to still get back above VWAP. That hasn't gotten going yet. Same with IN, EYEN. So far, QIPT, EDBL, and I guess even Blooms is performing a little bit better than the two coming first.
Jay Wild here mentioning LAES. This is trying to bounce off that 320 spot. Got stopped cold right there at the VWAP 333. That to me, tree. This to me has to be the spot we've got to get over if we're going to have any more run here in LAES. That's your target to watch. I did see there were a lot of folks trading this one yesterday. I know several that kept this overnight, so I'm kind of unsurprised to see a profit-taking move here right out of the open. Jay, I think if this gets above the VWAP, you might actually go after those pre-market highs that we had in here. Got that at about 356.
NRXS might break a trend here. If you want to draw a trend line from the 701 high through the high of 910 and then the first candle out of the open, we're trying to break through that trend line right now.
On it right now. Great call, dude. 13. That was so fast.
Yeah, I just noticed it too because we were getting through VWAP and I was like, okay, here's something. So there's some movement there. Now we just need to get above this trend line. Now we're pulling back here, unfortunately. But if we get above this trend line and close above it, that might set it up for it to go higher. 701 is the pre-market high. That's the high I'd be looking at past this trend line.
Okay, and real quick here, folks, I did want to update you on one of my trades here. I forgot I didn't do this earlier today, and I'm sorry about that. We had a whole bunch of stuff to cover. I normally cover this in the open when I talk about the SPY. Chewy here. So I told you that initiated a new swing long position here, and I nibbled on it. So I certainly didn't take it in full size. I took it in reduced size. These were the June 40 calls that immediately moved in my favor, which is a rarity for me. It continued to move in my favor. If you take a look at Chewy, oh, did we lose 13? Did we lose you there?
No, my browser ran into a problem, so I just had to refresh.
Anyway. Gotcha. Chewy here has been on an absolute run. Because I didn't have a full position, I decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell and roll it higher. So I actually sold the June 40 calls and then bought the June 45 calls with a portion of that profit. So this is, again, a starter position. It's not a full position. The reason I did that is because I still want to have some exposure. I understand that this is overbought, but I'm not going to fight the trend. I'm going to make it my friend. In fact, this is a momentum move higher here. So I maintain that exposure by adding the 45 calls for June and booking the gains on the 40 calls. Now, if this comes back in, and particularly if this holds 40, we'll start re-adding. Probably we'll re-add to the 45 calls that I've initiated a new position on. So Chewy gains are booked, still have exposure here, looking to add on a pullback if we get it. Let me go back to the main workspace here.
Getting a pull on QIPT. NRXS, it looks like it's above that trend line now, trying to get going here. Just need some more volume. We could see that 7 print.
Okay, I'm going to leave this on. Well, let me check a couple more of these here. MLGO is at its VWAP. ION is ION a new bottom if it breaks that pre-market. BLMZ, that penny stock, did break above 30 temporarily and came back in, but did not give up its VWAP. This might not be done. Don't shoot me if you end up trading this. I generally stay away from these. Pony, how's that doing? We covered that here. Pony, big rip. This is actually on volume here through the VWAP. Pony's getting rolling here. Watch for a 20 magnet here on Pony.
You didn't say giddy up.
I didn't?
No.
Oh, giddy up for Pony. That was such a missed opportunity. Oh, that was such a missed opportunity. I apologize.
Yeah, and then pony up, yeah. Or stay golden,
pony up, boy. Giddy up, do it all.
Stay golden, pony boy.
Stay golden, pony boy. Okay. I'm going to step away for just one sec here. I'm going to leave Pony up for the memes. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. So far, we have BLMZ right now trying to get back up to over that 29 cent. It's above it now. Just got over it. Looking for that 33 cent level where it topped out of the gate here. EDBL, that's fallen beneath VWAP, unfortunately. QIPT bounced off its VWAP. Let's see if there's going to be anything left in here. 220 is the high there. EYEN, INOVA, that's beneath its VWAP, trying to recapture it. This might end up going lower before it has recovered, but I see a trend line here that might come into play from the 232 pre-market high through the high that we made just before we opened. That'd be about the trend line I'd be looking for. If we can break through that, this will probably trade better. NRXS, unfortunately, we did get the move over that trend line, then it came right back underneath it. Now we're losing VWAP. Let's see if this can get some support down about these session lows were about 510. If not there, 485 might be the next spot for support. What else are we looking at? Buying this poll in Tesla. Boeing having a good day.
Okay.
So we're going to look at Boeing and we're going to look at Tesla.
Okay. I'm going to start with Boeing, ticker BA.
Yeah, Boeing is eyeing the recent highs we made last week on Wednesday. That was 209.66. Trying to trade up to there. It looks like a 210 is the big level to get over. Looks like that is definitely the case when you look more to the left here.
Okay, lost my chart here. Let's see if I lost all of them.
And Mo is saying I am growing. So it's still trying to get above that VWAP. I drew a trend line here with IM from the pre-market high through the opening high. There's BLMZ with a nice move through the high that we just recently made at 33.5. 38.50, well, 38 cents and a half actually is the current high.
Yeah, I looks like I'm going to try refreshing here. It looks like something's going on. You guys still hear me okay, right? My broker looks like it's doing okay. All right, let me go back here and see.
So with Boeing also, seeing that we're still pretty elevated here, I would like to see 210, maybe a little bit of a blast off through that and then come back in. Because this thing is going to have to cool off. You know, like so many other stocks that were slaughtered by Liberation Day, this thing has gone on a massive rally following the April 7th bottom. So needs to cool off. Absolutely.
Here's your daily chart on Boeing.
Yeah.
Wish I had some more history there. So this actually did. I'm with you on this needing to cool off, but man, oh man, still looks like it's trying to roll higher here.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, like 210. 210 would be it for me because that would represent a 58.5% run from April 7th. That was the bottom to buy. Looks like Edible is recapturing its VWAP. This could get moving here. We're still looking for that $3 print in EDBL. I don't know what's going to happen after $3. $3 seems to be a bit of a resistance area.
There's something happened here with my platform. I'm still trying to work on it. I'm sorry, guys.
BLMZ, next candle has started trying to push higher into the 38 cent range, looking for 40 cents. MLGO, that looks like a Head and Shoulders. That's resolving as I speak. Wow, what a knife. Well, that's why I don't like to touch that one. All right, what else do we got here? It's like looks like Top W. That one from yesterday is up.
Yeah, well, Top W was that former IPO that we had.
Oh yeah, okay.
So let's see if I've got my intraday stuff here is back. Here, let me go to Top W real quick.
You know, Crow, I'm glad that you mentioned Mind Medicine because I saw those headlines about how the administration was going to look into treatments with psychedelics. I immediately went over to MindMed. It was doing nothing. So I'm glad that you brought this up because I've been waiting for this to get going off of that news, and I hope it's finally doing that. Is that the news that you're thinking this is going off of, well, or is there something else that is moving this? Yes, there we go. Politics exploring psychedelic medicine as a top priority for Trump administration. FDA commissioner says that's what I was referring to, and I didn't see Mind Medicine move at all after that, but now it is apparently. Decliners to advancers, so it is more of a bearish day than bullish. Even though we had a pretty nice bullish engulfing candle yesterday on the SPY. So there's three, an edible, perfect, absolutely wonderful. It got a little bit more than three. It ran right to 309, and then pulled back. Hopefully there's some more there, but Yes, absolutely, Crow. So yeah, it was really interesting to me that this didn't move with that news, but now it's moving today.
Whoever was asking about if there are any circuit breakers, SYTA halted still here. This was halted at 9:48, so just a few seconds ago. I think 9:53:16 might be your opening time there.
Here it is. Student loan delinquencies skyrocket, the straw that breaks the U.S. consumer's back. That's causing this market to pull right now.
Where are you seeing this?
On the news headline for the SPY. That's been a thing that we've been on in happy hour for a very long time.
Yeah, we have.
At some point, that with the debt now coming due, the forbearance period being having ended, that's going to hit a lot of households hard with debt. So that's, I don't like to say I'm glad we finally got this realization, because this is something that's been in the back of my mind forever. And now we might actually start to see some resolution of this.
So are you trading that anyway? Any specific way? Like, are you short buy now, pay laters? Are you short? What's your outlook on SoFi? Like, how are you capturing this, if at all?
Well, if the SQQQ or any directional ETFs, it's going to pull the entire market down. I think that'd be the easiest way to do it. I haven't looked at individual names. Just if it's a broader market kind of move down, so I just would take a broader market position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It looks like you're using that as a metric to maybe trade the broader market. That makes total sense here. AISP, we just talked about this one. This is Airship. This actually dipped, ripped, stopped at the VWAP, and might be rolling back over. I'd look for maybe some more downside here on this. EVLV. This is the one Jay talked to us about yesterday. Jay adding on this one. It looks like. Oh, what did I do here?
Thank you, Wisdom, for PSIL. I'll look and see what they have in that ETF, because there might be a lot of stuff in there that we would want to take a look at individually. Let me see what it's got. It might have some names that we already know about or own. So, Mind Medicine MNMD is the number one holding there at almost 9%. So you can do that one individually or with this ETF. SQQQ still going higher. Market selling off. NRXP is the next one. Also CMPS, ATAI. I think we've traded that one. And then Sage Therapeutics. I remember that one. So there's some names in here we're pretty familiar with. But thank you for that PSIL. That's one to watch, maybe even own.
Seeing a whole bunch of Tesla calls and a little bit of puts crossing the wire here. Tesla, huge reversal off of that pump higher. 554, 10-point reversal in just a matter of a few minutes here as Tesla pounding the lows now.
Yeah, I was hoping for 360, but I guess that'll suffice.
Okay, that stopped a little bit there. Let me catch up with the chat here. Sorry, folks. I've been doing a whole lot of other stuff here today.
Hey, Mo, awesome. Dude, look at this. I love it when Mo and other folks have this kind of discipline. He's all right.
Walking away green.
Yep.
This one right here.
That's what I'm talking about. Yep. Folks, if you have a good day, you've hit your goals, why risk anything else? Go outside, touch some grass, swing some clubs, do whatever you do when you're not at your desk. Have a good day. You won.
13 just wanted to get on my good side there by talking about swinging golf clubs. I get it.
Oh, I was on your bad side. Holy crap.
I'm just... You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't.
MLGO. This is we're getting a full resolution of this Head and Shoulders. That's fantastic.
Okay.
So
let me bring that up here.
So that was really nice there. Yeah.
Oh my.
Mike Sulikov is asking about Rocket.
Okay, let me just refresh here real quick.
No worries. I'll take a look at that while you're doing that.
Here, I think I can actually probably get the bigger chart out here for Rocket.
Yeah, this back over 13 still has that high short interest. It's really just about the 13 level. I mean, we just need to hold above that. I'm having issues with the chart here as well. Let me my broker. Okay, so yeah, just really need to just hold above 13. That'll lead to more upside. Looking for 15 to 16 is the next upside levels.
Okay, sorry, I'm struggling here with the charts still. Here, maybe it's just that one that's not working. Let me go back to Rocket here. Here we go.
Mike, I don't think it's because of the student loans. We did have some.
There was a 13D on Rocket where they took a huge stake.
Right. Yes, that's that.
But he's asking why his calls are printing, right?
Right, but there was that issue with Moody's and that causing mortgage rates to spike in the morning yesterday, and they did cool off. But this is one of those companies that does remain pretty rate sensitive. So if rates are lower, then that's going to help potential home buyers get their homes, and that leads to more revenue for Rocket because they'll be helping facilitate all that. So really, you want to see these rates go down. So when Moody's downgrade their rating for U.S. debt, that's going to hit companies like this because it affects rates. And mortgage companies use the 10-year note to follow rates. So I think it's multiple things. That stake in Rocket is why it's going up, but why it got hammered yesterday is because of the mortgage interest rates being higher yesterday.
Yeah, and by the way, so the performance yesterday got hammered right out of the open, spent all day trading back. It's actually got a little bit of carry through here today. Long term, I actually think that's kind of bullish here. By the way, excuse me, SYTA, this is open from its halt here. This actually moved lower, moved back below the VWAP here after that coming out of the halt.
Blooms is still pulling back, but if this current candle that we're in isn't the last candle of the last red candle to the downside, it's looking like it's flagging. So we'd like to see this candle kind of just hold up here above 30, and then the next candle can rip, or this one can rip. Either one is fine. But if you're playing BLMZ, this is about the time where you'd want to see this pulling back here to end and make the next leg up. EDBL, by the way, this thing has been awesome. That broke through the high this morning of 328. Now we're up at 359 is the high, pulling back a little bit, looking at that 328 level as support. QIPT, this is kind of doing what Blooms is doing right now. We want to see this now move back up over 215 and higher. It's a QIPT. Looks like the market is trying to rally again.
A little bit of a pull out of the open there. The market does look like it's trying to bounce here. Really, though, 13, we talked about this yesterday, that 595. Let me actually just bring a SPY chart up here. That 595 spot is going to be pretty important to me. I know we traded above this yesterday. We couldn't technically get that close. We tried to go higher here in the after hours. Let's see if we can take out the pre-market high and then make a move back towards 595. That would be the big level for me here. Here's SPY. This is almost back to unchanged, down 0.3 here. This is where it was in the pre-market.
Okay, so Jay Rice, we got the first part of that his comment there. We knew that, but the HOV had earnings this morning and Toll Brothers tonight. That I forgot about. That's definitely going to be the kind of thing to watch for because it can move other names like Rocket. So just keep an eye on and see what they report today. I think what we got from what was it DR Horton's report is that multifamily homes and apartments are going to be hot through the rest of the year.
And they're sizing down, right? They're seeing more movement on some of the smaller offerings, including tiny homes.
Yeah, so we might not see some significant home buying until late in the year this year or sometime next year, because there are just more and more buyers piling up as time goes on, but the affordability hasn't come down yet. So all we're doing is creating a whole generation of renters. And until rates come down, that's all that they'll be.
Yeah, I just checked here on the likes. We don't even have 100 yet here today. Folks, please help us. Please help us. If I'm annoying you by asking, then if you continue to help us, I won't ask anymore.
BLM
We'll need some help there.
BLMZ down here at 30 now. This is the spot where it needs to turn around and go back up. If we lose VWAP, then the trend line is going to be the next thing that's going to catch the support. But remember earlier I said if we lose that trend line, this thing's likely headed much lower. Rocket is doing the opposite, though. That thing's blasting off now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's coming back here. And just kind of my point earlier, like yesterday, I know we had some weakness here yesterday. I know it gave some of that back. The performance the rest of the day was strong. Now we have some more carry through here. Rocket looking good, back above 13. Next key level we had on this was 16 and 18, right? Those are the next two.
Yeah, I like somewhere in between 15 and 16 because they've both been kind of areas, but 16 is the top end of that. But 18 is definitely a level because that was the IPO.
Gotcha.
Price. Yes, it was. Man, this market is just chopping around today. Let me take a look at Tesla, see what it's doing.
Tesla, I feel like I can't even look away from the option scanner here. Tesla options continue to trade here. Calls and puts, I can't really even make sense of it. It is so frequent. Tesla actually moving lower here. This might go green to red. For heaven's sakes.
Yeah, it's still kind of in a consolidation range. As a matter of fact, you could even argue that it's creating a bit of a bullish pattern, megaphone pattern. It just depends on what we end up getting when we approach the 330s. Do we go down to 325 or do we hold at 330? Because we're going to get different types of patterns depending on what happens here. So. Still in this consolidation, I think 325 is the level I'd be watching for. If we start losing that, then I'd be a little bit more bearish.
Benjamin here mentioning NRXS. This very, very clear. I think we've got the right thing or the right trade plan here. This has really got to get above this trend line. This trend line is acting as very, very clear resistance. Maybe you get some support in here, 464. Top of these candles here, maybe that's what turns it around. Volume seems to be dying out here until the story changes here. NRXS, this to me is a no touch. We're up 121% here. This thing really needs to turn around.
Yeah, got to recapture view up, got to break through that trend line. We did get a one move through it, then followed by a move right back down beneath it. So hasn't really got a good breakout yet. MACD isn't indicating that there's a turnaround coming quite yet.
Yeah.
But it could happen over the next 10 minutes, so we'll see. Just needs to get back above VWAP first of all.
Lion here saying Tesla needs to take 350 and stay above it for the bullish case to remain. Yeah. I would totally agree here. We'll see what happens after this rush of selling. What looks like 5, 10, 50, 20 minutes of constant selling here. We'll see if we can retake 350. We're not far away. That could very easily happen here. Yeah. Elon Dugan here. Sorry, 13. Elon has a second interview today with Bloomberg. If that has a different tone to it, this will probably climb. That's really good insight there, Dugan.
Well, I didn't hear him speak today. Was he kind of sounding like, what was the tone that?
Yeah, I didn't hear it either.
I guess I'd be curious about that. Like, does he say, "Yeah, I'm going to be this company CEO for the next 5 years," or was he like, "For the next 5 years"? Like, I need to know.
I like the different inflections you put on that. That was good. That was real good.
Well, I'm just trying to illustrate the importance of tone.
No,
Rocket's actually getting pulled here.
What is?
Rocket. Lots of things getting pulled down again. But NRXS still kind of hanging in there. You just don't want to see this go beneath 470.
Dugan saying he was being politically attacked by the interviewer with hard questions.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Okay. So that the interviewer is going to be different in Bloomberg. I'm sure of that.
Are you?
Not the same person, but I'm sure they're going to not try to hammer him like that.
Beth here mentioning Trump is holding a press conference at 3 with the Secretary of Defense. Do we know of any companies that might be mentioned in there? Is that something that we should watch for, some of the defense, Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, Palantir? Do we know what that's about, Beth?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Well done, Mike. Oh, they were talking race relations in South Africa. Well, that's never a positive. I mean, It's a tough subject to navigate.
Yeah.
I think that's about all I have to say on that.
Yeah.
Edible. This thing has been awesome this morning. 388 is the high. Looks like it's trying to go for another high. What to do is get above that VWAP.
All it really had to do was make a run for those pre-market highs too. It took that out with the quickness. So I guess I'm surprised that this is the good mover here. SPY is continuing to try and bounce. Looks like that 592 area was the bottom, at least so far. Mama Bear is mentioning Kodak with a capital LOL. What's Kodak doing? Okay, nothing yet anyway.
Well, I mean, is Trump about to talk?
No, I think that's later. 3 is what we talked about. Oh, she might be saying that we might hear about Kodak during that.
No, what I'm saying is like whenever Trump starts talking, Kodak tends to have some movement. Ever since 2020, when he brought it up, it's just always done that.
So there's the stock to watch for that speech later, or whatever he's going to be saying later. TNMG, what is this? TNL Media Gene? This absolutely ramping on volume. Did this have news or a squawk or something? What's going on here with this? Yeah, benchmark initiates. Okay, so this happened after the market opened or in the pre-market here. Benchmark initiates coverage on TNL. Speculative buy, price target of 3.5. Stock's $1.20 after this 108% move.
That ticker was what? TNMG?
TNMG, Tango Nancy Mary Golf.
Okay. This is not this first big move it's had recently. What happened earlier here? Key business updates. Okay, I don't know enough about this company, but I'm curious. Geographically, the company generates the majority of its revenue from Taiwan. What's going on with Taiwan? To where this is going parabolic.
Okay. Keep flipping through here. Tesla find a bottom there? That was a question.
Maybe.
They're still waiting on that 350.
Could still go lower.
You guys are mentioning CoreWeave again.
Well, EDBL,
gosh.
EDBL coming back to reality.
SYTA might be making a move here. SYTA back above its VWAP. We really need this to get above 638, 640 maybe, 640. Watch SYTA right here.
SYTA, okay.
That 640 area seems to be stopping it. I'm watching at the level 2 I'm watching the level 2 right now. Seems to be stopping it right there.
Yep. Now if we can get through that, 660 is the next level. This thing has a MACD that's curling. This could get going. Maybe back up to 7.
Here we go. It's through 640 here. Stopped at 646 right there. I didn't see anything odd on the level 2 either. Maybe it's being hidden. Looks like that. Tell you what, there's a lot of volume being traded up here, though.
Concentration of sellers at 650.
This back down now. I would still watch this breakout level. I think this level is going to be important, the 640 level.
Balloons went down to VWAP. That's trying to turn around. A little bit later than I was looking for, but still hitting the same levels. There we go. SIDA, that started, whoa, that just popped right up to that 650 area and then got pulled right back down. Those sellers at 650, man. They
yep, nasty reversal here. Huge volume stick going on right now also.
All right, well.
It's holding 6, man. I tell you what, this SYTA, glad I'm not messing with that. Couple of junky penny stocks at the top of the scanner list here. Weeble might be putting in a bounce. This has been tough. This is not the greatest.
So far, the best moves have been out of the gate in a lot of these names.
NBIS, this is actually holding lower from its earnings earlier today. See where it really fell off from reporting its earnings.
Oh wow, SIDA is just wild. It popped up to that 660 area. We got 659 as the high print, and then it pulled back again. This is kind of bouncing around a lot, but if this thing looks like it may have the potential to push through that 660 on its way up to 7, but it's also very spready. Just be careful with this. It still has those concentration of sellers. I see it. It's now 640, 660. Looks like 655 as well.
Okay. TNMG looks like you guys are murking this. Izzy say I killed TNMG.
All
Congrats.
Right. Wow, look at that.
Amanda saying I can sit here and watch Chop, or I can go for a walk. See you tomorrow. Amanda, enjoy your walk. I'm hoping to be able to do one here myself, but it's raining. We'll see.
Well, they have these things called umbrellas.
Yeah, I'm not carrying an umbrella. I mean, come on.
I'm such a jerk sometimes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. SYTA not being a jerk. We'll see if it does jerk after it keeps rolling. So what a nasty pull there.
Yeah.
Went to 650, flushed all of those weekends out. Now we're going to resume that move. I do think 7 is coming here.
Yeah, it's definitely trying, but that 660 level, we're making our way through it now. And then there's that consolidation between 660 and 7. That's all. That's the only barrier in the way. It's got to get through all those sellers, and then we're off.
Tesla starting to resolve a little bit lower here. Netflix rolling lower. Some of those big cap names moving lower here. Apple doing an all right job holding in there.
Yeah, this market just needs to cool off.
I don't see a lot of good triggers here. I see a lot of chop back and forth. I don't feel confident about taking any new trades here. Am I alone in that? I'm glad Chewy continues to work.
Sergeant Sexy, that's a good question. They're asking about the DFEN. I believe that's the military ETF. Aerospace and Defense, both the directional ETF for the bull shares is 3x leveraged. Maybe, or it might be something that you sell because when I look at the daily chart, this thing has gone on a massive run, and it's at the highs from October of last year where this was topping out at. Maybe we break through it. Maybe we get rejected. This thing has an almost 77 RSI. I don't know that I'd be playing the defense names to the upside with how much of a run they've gone on. Maybe, but they work. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we have that conference or speech or whatever it is later. Trump's going to be talking about defense. I think that might be one of the reasons it's being mentioned.
Right. That is the reason. And I'm just saying now that's probably going to create some good liquidity for sellers to exit. Because when I'm looking at the chart, it's been on a massive run. Like we're up 120% from April 7th.
LAES here. This is mentioned by Kathy. Kathy, this is a good eye here. This bounced nicely off 320. We reclaimed the VWAP and the 15 EMA on the 5. 350 actually looks to be the next spot. I feel like 350 is a spot on a couple of things here today. 350 looks to be the next spot on this. TNMG is halted, it looks like. Izzy, nice trade on that. I know you mentioned that a few times. This halted. We'll see where this opens. Hopefully you guys sold into that.
SIDA is trying to chew through all the sellers from between 660 and 7. Still has 680 of sellers, and then 693 is after that. It's making its way up there, but running into a lot of sellers. And not even shorts are looking great.
Meta not really doing anything here. We talked about Micron yesterday. That came in a little bit. That's not really doing anything. I just don't see anything great at all. NVO, this might be going higher after its recent move down. NVO 70 spot might be important there. 75 calls getting bought here. Actually apply a filter on this too. Hog, this is continued. What a call by Tim Melvin this was last week, right? He called it right in here. 24. This continues to move higher. This actually looks like this might have bottomed and might be breaking out. These hog calls here, these are short dated ones. These are just a month.
Yeah, it is a choppy day. Ray Gruel is saying Estee Lauder looks pretty. Doesn't Michael Burry have a large position in that? And he's what is he? I think that's
in which one? EL?
Estee Lauder, yeah, EL. Take care, Lion.
Take care of yourself, Lion. What would you say? Reg rule, yeah. You also mentioned CEP. How about that? CEP, this might be curling up here. Maybe we make a move. Barry the Great or Barry the Goat. What's the next move here on CEP? Did a really good job calling this in both directions, by the way. Both directions.
Yeah, Estee Lauder not looking too bad. All right.
Someone else was in this too. I can't remember who it was, but someone else bought Estee Lauder.
Oh, it was
recently.
Me. No, recently? No, not recently.
No, I mean someone like in size has bought this. I can't remember who it was.
Other than Michael Burry, let me see.
Yeah, the insider buys from those came in February. Trying to remember, it was a firm or something.
Was it an acquisition at
No, I know it was Michael. I know Michael Burry, but I could have sworn there was somebody else in this too. Maybe not though. Anyway, sorry. Don't need to lead you down the path to nowhere. That's for sure. That's for sure.
There's been a lot of insider buying since
Smoke Tuna is a buyer. Has been calling it pretty much all year. Joe saying the only good long play I've seen was NBIS on the dip, NBIS. That was an earnings dip. That's still choppy. I feel like that's not the easiest thing to trade either. Buffett is still in Ulta, which is obviously in the same space as EL. ELF is also in that space. So how are all those moving?
He doesn't own Ulta Beauty anymore. They sold out of that.
Sold
it in the second quarter. He bought a stake in the second quarter last year, but then he really reduced a whole bunch of it in the following quarter, and then he sold off the majority of the shares. So I don't know if he still has a little bit left, but he only had the majority of it for 2 quarters. But he's been selling. Yes, same space as EL, absolutely. Yeah. All right, what else we got? All right, so I'm gonna look around here and see what.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking around at stuff too. I'm trying to get my heat map workspace fixed here real quick.
Sideways right now, but at least Rocket's back over 13 again. Other than that, I don't see. It seems like everything's just kind of sideways for the moment. Guess we're waiting for Trump to speak. When is that supposed to take place? By the way,
3, they said.
Oh, okay. Well, we might be waiting a while.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that's next up here. Man, oh man, what is going on? I'm gonna go back to my main workspace.
G-Res saying AS is helping some retail names. Let me see here. What's going with that? Okay, so they just they reported gapped up. This it's a very extended gap up here. 83 RSI. I feel like this should come in, but I don't know enough about this to know how it trades. What do you think, Jay? Is this it's too extended for you, or is there more left for this to run?
Look at TNMG. Izzy, Your first sell is your best sell. Am I right? What a move back down here on TNMG. Hopefully nobody got hit on this.
Looks like we're starting to get some turning around in some of these names. SIDA hasn't broken down. It's still trying to get up to 7. It's been hitting 671. Some of these names are starting to show some turnaround, but volume isn't great, so don't know how much follow through we'll get.
Crocodile Dumb Me asking about PanW into earnings. PanW is lower here, really kind of uneventful into earnings. I don't have a position for this into going into earnings. I know. I'm kind of copping out here.
Do you see that CrowdStrike is down after it was announced that Delta Airlines can sue CrowdStrike over the outage from last year?
I did. Yep.
So, what do you make of that? Because the thing I'll be watching for is a loss of the 20-day SMA. That's like the next moving average that we're really close to with that has been providing support with this rally that's been on. So that would be like the first level for me to watch, and that value is at 429.39. So maybe a loss of 430 is when we start to see some downside here in crowd.
Yeah, I have this trend line that kind of jumps off. We asked Red Dog about this one earlier here today, too. He actually had his lines drawn a little bit differently. I think he had something like this, and then he had another shorter term trend line that was basically like this. CrowdStrike, to me, really needs to get above these to make any more progress here. The double bottom in here was great. It's got this nice little W formation. Does kind of look like, it's not really a cup. I guess kind of is.
Is this old news? Big Ab's is asking, and I don't think it is old news. I think that the idea or the talk about them suing has been around for a while, but I think that gave confirmation and that they can. I think that's the only difference. I might be wrong about that.
QIPT getting called here by Smoke Tuna. This is curling. Good stuff, Tuna. This bounced off of that VWAP, curling off of that 15 EMA.
Yeah,
$2 now on QIPT.
That's the one that has the potential for buyout at 310.
I got a couple of these mixed up because there was another one there.
Yeah, that other one that was getting acquired for like $3.
More hog calls, by the way. That's continuing higher here. Melvin does it again. Dollar General. We saw a really good performance out of Dollar General yesterday. I loved the joke about the tariffs that you made yesterday. I know this group didn't get to hear it, but that was well done. Dollar General, great performance here again today. Seeing more call flow into this. We've talked about, let me see if I can go back to my big chart yet. I can. Here's the Dollar General daily chart that we have been looking at. I never got my opportunity to reload this position here, 13, and now it looks like we are in this gap that fills up here to 121.
Yep. And we're hitting that October 2023 low. So, I wouldn't be surprised if that gave us a little bit of resistance as we tried to navigate through that. That sideways action there is going to be up until about 108. So wouldn't be surprising if we did, struggle a little bit to get through it. But like I said, I'm a long-term holder of this. I think this will be just fine. I'm looking for that gap fill and more. So I'm just going to be patient with this. But this has been providing some really nice moves following the weakness it had, trying to get through that trend line. Oh, you don't have the trend line on there anymore.
No, I think it got reset.
No worries. So it had a really nice.
Did that trend line start on this March 2024 candle, or did it start before that?
I mean, you could use the March 14th, 2024 candle. That's where I have it going through, and then just draw it through the.
Well, where did it start? I want to recreate. Did it start all the way up here?
I had mine starting in October of 2022.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what we had. I think something like this.
Well done, Joseph.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff there. Let me actually save this. Okay. Let me go back to my main workspace. Sorry, I'm clicking around here so much.
No worries. I'm looking at QIPT. That's still trying to rise here. It's at $2. I'm looking at the price ladder, and I see that there's a large concentration of sellers at 220. Quite a massive amount. So if we do get some more upside, 220, which is where the high is of the day, that's where all the sellers are hanging out at. So you have to come in with some large volume to take those out to go higher. All right. So other than that, the market's just kind of chopping around, and there's no clear direction of anything right now to me. Guy on CNBC hyping quantum. Well, don't let Martin Shkreli find out about it, or Jensen Huang.
I'm sure they'd be okay with it.
Did you end up watching that Gamers Nexus video?
I shared it, so I'm so glad that you mentioned that. So I actually started that yesterday, got sidetracked, never went back to it. Shared it with the group here today because I wanted to make a distinction that you and I have been talking a lot about how NVIDIA has really kind of flubbed its graphics card. Yeah. And I reiterated the point. Well, I know that the AI is really the big driver there of that company. It is worth, I think you've made this point before, it's worth noting that it was these graphics cards sales that got them to where they were at. And the possibility of them maybe laxing some of their quality control can very easily then step over into the AI angle, which you're going to have real problems. So I shared that video with the group. I wasn't going to force them to watch it. I was just going to say, if there's anything that you wanted to cover on that, the entire group has that link.
Yeah, because the big takeaway for me, let me just see if I can get my thoughts together on that, because the whole thing is that their graphics cards business is not even close to being most of their revenue anymore. It's just not. Yeah. It's all about the AI angle. But if that's the case, why are they spending so much time and effort trying to make sure that these graphics card reviewers are pushing NVIDIA's narrative, even if the narrative is essentially selling lies? Like, there's a lot of that going on with NVIDIA. Just we won't give you the graphics cards a test if you don't do this. Just watch the video, you'll get what I'm saying. But they're trying to control a narrative, and I'm a little concerned that if they're really trying to push this narrative just for a small segment of their business, what are they? What's the purpose? Why do they care so much? Why not just move over completely into the AI sector and be done with graphics cards? Especially if you have to lie in order to sell them, because their RTX 50 series launch has been an absolute disaster. So why are you spending so much time and effort trying to control a narrative on a segment of your business that does not make up any significant portion of your revenue anymore?
It would be, really? But I mean, it would be one thing if this was the only problem that we saw, but we've now seen a number of issues here with NVIDIA that are starting to build on each other. And I think that is also notable.
Yeah, and it's exactly. And orders come from top down. And that has been the big problem too, is that a lot of executives are doing the pointing blame, throwing people under the Huang bus. But that's just how it works. And it's really concerning, because I feel like at some point we're going to see one of their AI chips just have a completely bad review from one of its customers. They're saying, these chips are overheating.
Well, I was going to say there was already some overheating concerns.
But and I just worry that NVIDIA is going to try to continue to push a narrative that they have the best chips, no one can beat them, and they can set the price for whatever they want. But I think as the realization starts to set in that this company, the chips are not worth the price, that's going to hurt their narrative, and that's why they're trying to control what's being said about different aspects of their company, including the graphics cards. So I think that there's some real effery happening here in NVIDIA that hasn't made its way into the market yet.
That would be, if that starts to affect the stock price, because it's clear that it hasn't yet. If that starts to affect the stock price, that'll be something else. And we will be here to tell you that we were first on that. Really good stuff. By the way, MBIS, whoever was that, Tom calling that $40 level earlier. It did struggle with that. Now we got a breakout through that level. MBIS.
Look at that choppiness.
Yeah,
it's all over the place. And then, yes, Daniel, you're absolutely right. NVIDIA told all gamers to go F them to F you, and they didn't even blink. Effery, because this is a family show, Kevin. It's uppery.
Will there be a separation between NVIDIA and AMD? Well, so there is a separation now. I think one of the things that we're saying is that AMD might close that gap a little bit. If nothing else, they're being given an opportunity to do so.
AMD, Broadcom, Marvell, they may all start to chip away at
Marvell. That's a good one. We didn't even look at today.
Yeah, so I think those could all
Marvell having a tough day.
Those could all end up doing. And then you have some other companies that are traditionally not known for chip making, like Google or Meta or Microsoft. They have all chip designs, for AI. And that's another thing too. NVIDIA is a chip designer. Okay, they're not a manufacturer. They have all their stuff made by TSMC. That didn't mean Jeffrey.
Is he here mentioning quantum? This is a quote that came out of that. Quantum will be a threat to Bitcoin. The Sandbox CEO said that Bitcoin actually is trading lower. Yeah. Maybe it is on that. It's kind of rolling over here. Yeah, that's the whole cryptographic angle, right? Quantum computing is going to be able to break any type of crypto that we have now and make Bitcoin unsecure. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when we've been seeing a lot of these post-quantum cryptography companies get a lift, because that's a growing concern. And I would kind of challenge the folks that if we're so far away from quantum, why all the scare about quantum or about cryptography getting taken down by quantum computing if we're so far away? I guess we're not as far away as we thought, huh?
People just love to freak out there, Jim. We've learned that in a number of different ways.
Sorry, folks are mentioning ASST. I'm taking a look at it right now. It's up 9%.
Did you say ASMT?
ASST.
Oh, okay.
Just had a nice big volume candle here. Took it up to 724 now.
I got 735 as your next spot and 760 after that.
Looking at yesterday's highs?
Yep.
That's what I'd be looking to.
Smoke Tuna said he called this one earlier.
Man,
I'll tell you what, Tuna, that list, I do enjoy a good list, and yours looks like it's thumping.
What was the thought here on ASST? Is this just another one of those AI, your AI said take a look at it, or is this because of the Form 425?
Palo Alto puts ahead of the earnings report here?
Yes, things are moving very slow today, Anthony. You've been getting a lot of amount of volume in the morning, and then it kind of goes away.
I see nothing here that I want to trade today. I actually feel bad, but I don't see anything great here. I don't see any setup that I really want to jump on at all. I'm just okay with what I have.
Yeah, it's been a good morning.
Yeah, I just don't feel great about anything new here.
Is he saying, and Daniel are both saying that TNMG is coming
They're
back?
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, folks, if there's something that you're seeing that looks like it's a good setup and that you can make money off it, don't let us stop you from doing that. Just make sure you're protected and that you're not, making if the trade goes bad, that you're not staying in it and having it get worse. Because this is just a, really illiquid day. It looks like ASST popped up to what is this? About 729, 728, 729, and then backed off a bit. Trying to get through this consolidation here from yesterday on its way up to that 735 level you mentioned. Yeah, but man, there's just not a whole lot of good opportunities right now. I mean, they seem to just pop out of nowhere. Yeah, I think it will, Joseph. I think you're right. But, I think with my comment was more geared towards, the time frame. If it's right around the corner versus what, like 20, 30 years out, like some folks are saying, if it's closer than that, then cryptographic security is going to be a bigger stock play. 2 for 2 on Pony. You rock, E-Rock. Okay, so it was just a setup, Smoke Tuna, because I'm looking for catalysts that get it going. And the only thing I saw this morning was that Form 425. So I thought there was something in there that piqued the interest of traders. Bond is moving. House money is always easy to trade. Here, which is fine because this market's a casino right now. Yeah, Bond with a nice move up here, up this 175.
Let me put that on. Sorry, I got distracted there. There was the volume that did it. It was the volume that did it. This thing was just dead money until that volume pop.
Is there? Okay, so there's news from Friday. I thought. Okay, I thought there was going to be a reverse. Wait, didn't we look at this one this morning?
Yes, very briefly we did. Very briefly we did. One of the things that I had said here is that on days where this thing pops, it really likes to come back in quite a bit. And I was kind of drawing a parallel to that. I also had mentioned, I think this was the one with the volume in the pre-market. No. No. These were all had a higher than average volume after the market actually opened.
I don't know what to really make of this.
Yeah.
A nice breakout. I guess you could draw a
sell into the rips is what I make of this one. Look at these candles. I
would agree with that. Maybe it goes to 2, maybe 220. I see that there's a concentration of sellers between 175 and 180 right now, with the next ones being up around 195 and $2. So several different areas of rejection you could run into on the way up here. It looked like it's already backing off of 175. But
this is that reverse split setup here.
Yep.
They're
saying bond could go. But those are the levels I just pointed out. Those are where I think it could go to. Maybe 2, maybe 220. After that, I don't know. I'd have to look at some longer time frames. Gosh, this thing's kind of just been sideways for a month now.
Sergeant Sexy, take care of yourself. Thanks for your support today. Make sure you hit that like on the way out if you haven't already. Let's continue to exploit the YouTube algorithm.
Yes. All right. So after 220, I'd say 270 and then 335. I don't know where it's going to go, to be honest. It could go to all those, maybe more.
Contessa Brewer interviewing Alec Baldwin in the BTIG office. Hopefully she doesn't get shot.
Well, she's not behind the camera, is she?
No, she's not. She's in front of the camera.
Okay.
Probably too soon for that, but sorry about that.
It's okay. All the jokes that you make will shake off their rust. See what I did there?
Oh, I do. I do see what you did there. This SYTA not giving up. It's hard for me to actually stay focused here. NRXS, what a disappointment. This actually lost the possible bounce area that we talked about.
I mean, it is kind of going sideways. I don't know if with regard to the move since yesterday, that took it up to 7. I don't think that this is quite finished yet. It still has some levels to go through. First being the 65 EMA. That's at 412. So there's still a possibility that this could curl later on in the day. We've seen a lot of these. I mean, what was that one yesterday after we were done with the show? That thing just kind of went on a violent run. The PTIX. Remember that one?
Yeah.
At 10.
All the good trading happened in the afternoon on PTIX.
And that one ended up going to like 1350 or something. But it had a lot of really big moves back and down.
Really? Sorry.
No.
I was going to move the subject to something else.
Okay.
So finish up.
I'm done.
That's what I thought. I'm sorry, man. PDYN here. This is one that we have talked about quite a bit here. I think it was Chris that was really smoking this one earlier. Interesting trend line here that PDYN has kind of broken. We're at this area that this is a former resistance and support area. I almost think that if you clear out this 8, you actually might have a run towards double digits here. And this one we've swung before, so maybe you're going to have another opportunity here. PDYN, possible curl. It actually looks better than some of these other ones that we were taking a look at. LAES, despite its good day yesterday, I actually think this trading action here is also pretty good. A little bit more continuation here today, up another 7%. Looks like what, 350 seems to be an area here. LAES.
NRXS is starting to curl back up. Here we go. So this is where I was saying it's not done yet. It's might go back up to VWAP, looking for a break of this trend line, but it doesn't look like it's quite finished yet. Wisdom, it's so funny you mentioned this because this is one of the things I was talking about, I think, as early as yesterday. a private company worth getting into is Dynamics. It's not going backwards or anywhere. This is a company that has to deal with the Navy for their drones that convert from basically like a vertical and takeoff and landing. Their wings rotate, so it becomes a fixed wing aircraft. And they're using it to combat against cartels in the Gulf of America. So yes, Dynamics, private company. I tried to find who owns it and if there's any way we could play on the stock market. Don't think I found anything that we could get exposure to that for. But I think at the very least, Wisdom, it's going to give a lift to some of the drone makers, the other drone companies. Yep. That's when, Wisdom, you and I, man, we were looking at the same stuff. It is a pretty cool looking drone, by the way. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so NRXS is still trying to turn around here. Don't have a crossing the MACD yet, but it is beginning to curl. I really want to see this take out the trend line and VWAP.
Bond totally knifed.
So Bond is gone. Oh wow! Look at the SQQQ. We got a spike here on something. Was it the
SPY trading higher here, 593, going for that 594. Here's a look at SPY. Let me see if there's any news associated with this.
Top U.S. state Republicans urge SEC to consider delisting Chinese companies. That just hit the wire. Hit the wire like half an hour ago. So.
Yeah, they've been talking about that. I don't know how new that is.
No, they've been. That's already been something that's been circulating in the news since I think last month.
Yeah.
Something else. I mean, I did see that somebody had mentioned that Amazon was going to have a foldable phone.
Yeah, it was Izzy's mentioning that. I seem to be the outlier in this one, which is weird because I'm a technology junkie, but the foldable phone for me is not a needle mover. I feel like they're going to break. I feel like they're going to wear. When you fold them, they're chachi in your pocket. They're really thick. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. Now, I guess how does that phone sell? What are the margins on that? Oh, that's the important shit. What?
It sells good.
Yeah.
Samsung's Z Fold has done really well. They've come up with multiple iterations of it now. So I think the folding phones are popular, even though you and I probably wouldn't want to own one.
Yeah, it's to me, it's almost too much, right? At that point, so I guess this is kind of like my thing with the tablet too. Like, if I want something bigger than my phone, I pretty much want my laptop. The tablet seems to be the one like that's something that I use to like pass around. Like I don't really like do tasks. I don't know. I'm not explaining it well. The tablet is the least used device for me. So having a foldable phone that basically replicates a small tablet doesn't hit.
I don't want foldable phones, tablets, large screens, or any of that crap. We're done. We're all finished with the what can we do to make the screen experience so much better. We're finished with that, folks. Let's move on to glasses, finally.
The entire phone is a screen. I mean...
Yeah, let's move on to glasses. We can put those on. You can have an entire virtual space. You can look everywhere. There's your entire... Why are we not doing this? Apple, I'm looking at you, you idiots. You should have done this a long time ago, you morons. Coming up with this headset for $3,000 that nobody wants.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Real quickly here, Jane mentioning I'm addicted to my laptop. Jane, I think about this too. You know, sometimes when I'm sitting on my couch and I'm trying to decompress, I'll put my laptop right next to me or even on my lap, and I'll just have X loaded up. And it's just like the two screen experience is great. It really started with me for sports, but I do it for so many other things now because I feel like I'm able to watch two things at once. It does feel like an addiction.
Mama Bear mentioning NRXS. This is still moving up, looking pretty good here, approaching the trend line. Let's see, I'm just trying to get through some of what you folks are saying.
Yeah, all good.
They're currently, they use their tablet for playing Candy Crush. Get it, Jane Smith, crush that candy. What do you think about BTG? This is, this is on a nice run here. It's
B to gold?
Yeah, so, anything gold right now might be really popular. We just had this thing. We just had the price of gold run up to 3,500 and then back off. Looks like 3,500 is the level to break. So now here's a concerning.
So this is a miner, by the way. So this is a senior international gold miner.
Okay. Molly, Namibia, and the Philippines. Sorry, I couldn't get that name out there. I don't know if I really like gold miners right now, but this one's doing pretty well. And the thing is that there's still the issue of rates. If rates come down, I think gold miners could be really good. But with the uncertainty and the downgrading of rates, it's making gold more popular again. And there was an article I read today that made me think a little bit further about gold. If there's been a lot of moving around of gold between countries, and if there's a delay in shipments, or if any part of that gold exchange system runs into a problem because of how volatile and crazy gold's been, that could trigger a global financial crisis.
See, sorry, Miracle here. This is you're literally like, this would be my biggest fear, right? I bought a Z Fold for $1,800. The screen went black after 18 months. Turned out that this is a problem with Z Folds. It costs $750 to fix or replace the screen. So I just ended up buying a $200 Motorola. This is my big thing. Like, I'm on a very consistent pattern here of replacing my mobile device every 2 years. I really don't want to replace it mid-cycle. I certainly don't want to repair it mid-cycle before I'm about to replace it. This, to me, is a non-starter. I'm just not interested in the foldable phone for this reason. You're literally outlining it. If that happened to me, I would be upset. Scott's asking. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, I'm 100% on board with AR glasses. We need to develop those better.
Look, I know I've joked about AR glasses because I want the TrackMan ability to track my golf shots and read greens and all of that. But I'm with you on your larger point here about glasses. By the way, SYTA trading back up to the top end of the range. Scott asking if Uber is going to break out. Uber broke out. I think this has got 100 magnet. I think your next spot here on Uber is 100. We had Red Dog this morning. He said he liked Uber for a move to 102. Scott, giddy up. I think that's what's going on here. SYTA, as I was just mentioning here, this trading to the top end of the range. Watched $7 and your pre-market high here, $7.38.
Wisdom, the play for Tarot Dynamics is ARW. Are they like a thing behind the thing? Are they like a provider of components? Or do they own shares of the company? Like, help me out. What is the angle here with ARW as it relates to Tarot Dynamics? Looks like QIP is trying to push up some more. 220 is the high of the day. NRXS almost to that trend line, kind of going sideways at the moment, but almost there. Almost there.
Am I crazy? It almost seems like some of these movers, if you just kind of waited out some of that nonsense at the beginning, you actually had an opportunity to maybe play a slower, easier to play kind of curl back to the top. Someone just mentioned ARRY. Was that Izzy that just mentioned this one? Can't remember who mentioned this one. This is now on the list here.
This one looks like it's going to roll over.
Bond, that SYTA, this actually started trading better after that nasty pull earlier.
Thank you, Wisdom. That's helpful.
The quantum names are still kind of cooking here. Ryan, what did I say about SYTA? I believe that you said this could move later and that it's not done.
Yeah, 65 EMA support. Looking for, so 737 is the high from the pre-market. We're looks like 7 is the next resistance area to get through here. Lots of price action up in that area.
Miracle said, I was really upset. The warranty is only for a year and the phone starts breaking a year and a half. You don't even want to get me on the warranty rabbit hole. When I used to work at a car dealership, I'm still convinced to this day. I'm still convinced the car company, if they want, can program some type of mishap, if you will, into a fuel injector, for example, to die 10,000 miles after your warranty expires. I will believe that forever. I will believe that forever. And unsurprised to hear your experience here, Miracle. I'm sorry you went through that.
Do they really? Oh, it's a year. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see that.
TNMG is gearing again. I'd be careful with this one. I think this is a risky play.
Well, you are getting some movement up here on SIDA. It's coming up. It keeps pushing up to that 7 area. Just need to big volume push through it. All right, Wisdom. I think you're turning me into a.
Izzy, I do remember this. No one's trying to steal your thunder. No one's trying to take anything away from you. I do remember this. In fact, there was a point where I was like, I'm not sure how I feel on Uber. And then I eventually kept watching, and then I was like, yeah, Izzy's right. Uber's going to 100. Sure feels like the 100 magnet engaged. Especially if you buy a Jeep, those things age in dog years. Never heard that before. Tracy here, Ryan, Hewlett Packard got sued for that on their printers. They had a piece in their printer that was dying at a fairly regular rate right after a warranty period. I didn't know about this off the top of my head, Tracy. I appreciate you mentioning this. Again, I reiterate, I'm entirely unsurprised that this is what happened. Entirely unsurprised. Hello, Lynn Adams mentioning Astus here, ASTS, one of the space stocks, ripping, going to space maybe.
Yeah,
I'm going to leave this up. I'm going to step away for 1 sec. Sorry, my man.
Sure. So Wisdom, what are you thinking about with ARWD? I don't know if I'd be a buyer right where it's at right now. We did it looks like it topped out here from, basically for the past 4 years, and we finally got some of the much needed resolution as far as Liberation Day goes. But is that going to be enough to want to go long here, or should we wait for a pullback? Because the way I'm looking at it is this is knocking on the door of the 500-day SMA. It could break through, but at the same time, it also could come back down to its 200, maybe even go beneath it. I think this has gone on just an absolutely massive run. As a matter of fact, we're looking at 40% off of the low from April. I feel like if I'm going to go anywhere with this one, I'm going to need this to come in some more. What do you think? Dollar average, you want 110? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I like 110. All right, thank you, Wisdom. I'm going to be considering this. ASTS is in communications. Yes, it is. They're the ones that are sending up the satellite that AT&T and Verizon are going to be using. Let me see what the news is on that, and a whole bunch of others, because satellites are going to be hot this year. We have all kinds of different companies now with access to satellite clusters. You have a number of companies that are getting contracts to build data centers in space and on the moon. Other companies that have satellite clusters, and you're going to see a lot of satellites in the sky in a short period of time here with all this. But ASTS, they're helping the more legacy telecoms like Verizon and AT&T. T-Mobile, I believe, has the contract with SpaceX.
Scott asking, when will the RGC nonsense stop? I don't know. I don't know here. Here's RGC. This is that super thin thing, right? This thing, this range. I mean, look at the daily chart on this. $25 to $540, back down to $400. I mean, this is the type of stuff, Scott. I stay away from this. If you can figure out some way to reliably trade this back and forth, I would love to hear it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know when this ends here. Ends when the SEC makes an example of somebody.
I guess I need to go back and look and see why this thing has gone from $26 up to 410. I don't know. I mean, you all them probably.
I mean, it's crazy thin. 2.4 million shares here in the float. I can't remember exactly what this was. What was that day? We talked about it in here.
April 30th.
There was nothing on this. There was no news around that.
Yeah.
Crow mentioning it's like DFVD. God, I don't even know what that is off the top of my head. DeFi development. Is this another mega thin one that's just kind of... Are you kidding me? This thing gapped from $18 to $149. That can't be.
Hey, it's green, so I'm good.
No, this is a split. No. This is a reverse. I was going to say, there's no way.
SIDA did hit 7. There it is. Now we're looking for 737.
NRXS might be curling here. We actually just broke that trend line, or we're testing it right now.
Yes, sir. We're through the trend line on the way up to VWAP. I have VWAP at 537. Looks like QIPT it needs more volume to get going, but this one's still trying to push up as well. Blooms, this thing, after hitting that 3850, has not gone any higher. We lost the trend line that I drew. As soon as we had that loss, we knew that this was going down. So far, the past 20 minutes, I've been telling you exactly that. Might find some support down around 17 cents. MLGO, that thing went all the way right back down to the launch pad, 132. Take care, Wisdom. Go catch those fish.
Take care of yourself, Wisdom.
And Sideshow, you're mentioning NRXS.
Yeah, it was when he was mentioned that just as it started to break that uptrend.
Yep, $5 now. Looking for 536. That's my VWAP. EDBL, that thing just had a not so great pull.
Palantir is basically up by 0.25%. NVIDIA down by 1.23%. Although this is making a comeback here.
This is just, it's slow and steady, Smoke Tune, absolutely. It's just, starting to wonder if maybe it's about that time for me to call it good until the afternoon when some of these things will start coming back more. Okay, so SIDA popped up as high as 715. That pulled back under 7. Still above VWAP, though.
Martin Schlerelli is hosting a Quantum Mania Spaces for any of you that might be interested in that. I'm not going to bring it here. Don't worry, 13.
No, that's okay. I'm just Quantum Mania Spaces.
Yeah, it's Quantum Mania, QBTS, IONQ, Rigetti, QUBT. They're basically talking about quantum stocks in the X Spaces forum.
Well, Ant-Man 3 was called Quantum Mania. I don't think that his presentation is going to turn out very well either.
Never seen an Ant-Man movie. Would never do that.
First one was pretty good. Second and third. The second one was okay. The third one was garbage.
I'll take your word for it on all of that.
I am the Zan. He says Chevron CDX. What is Chevron looking like today?
I'll take a look. I got nothing going on right now. I'm happy to look at whatever you got. We do have 4 minutes till we have Anne Marie on here.
Oh, right. Oh.
Then we're going to find some option plays. So get your tickers ready for that.
Yeah, Chevron has not done a whole lot since last month when Liberation Day hit it. It's been trying to recover, but it looks like to me that it still is setting up to go lower. I personally want to see if we can get down to 130. I have levels beneath 130 that I'd like to start picking up shares in. But for me, this looks like it wants to head lower. I just think that might be a bit of a bear flag that it's been putting in since the beginning of April. And that means that we're going to get a loss of 132 at some point. So that's what I'm thinking happens with CDX. It goes lower.
Jay Rice here saying, now I know why Tesla is moving. Waffle House is adding EV chargers to their restaurants. Is Waffle House considered like a truck stop?
I'm trying to think of the people that go to Waffle House and try to view them as Tesla drivers. I'm not saying it. I just don't see it.
And I'm trying to draw another comparison here. Maybe you're trying to get the crowd that's on the road a lot by adding EV chargers to Waffle Houses, which are often, I don't know. Maybe you're not even serious about this. Maybe this is a troll comment. I don't know.
It's a great joke if it is, but if it's actually true, then I don't know if I should be laughing harder or not, because I don't think that the type of people that go to Waffle House are Tesla drivers.
Wahoo is apparently how the kids say it on the street. Is life.
Wahoo.
I've never I believe that. I believe it. I've never heard that before. Wahoo. I'll try to remember that.
Is it lit? Hey,
Chris taking some UNH long here. Looks like UNH is pulling a little bit, or did pull right out of the open here.
okay, that's okay. Now that makes sense, Matthew. Waffle houses are always off main interstate, so that would be helpful for Tesla
That's what I was
drivers.
wondering.
Okay.
Thank you, Matthew. That's what I'm wondering, if this is like step one, like if you put the Tesla
Okay.
chargers there, because like think about it, like the way my brain worked on this one, my first thought was, well, if it was a gas station, I'd want to go into the gas station, fill up, and leave.
Gotcha.
If I have to sit and wait, wouldn't you want to eat something? It almost makes more sense to couple them with a restaurant and Waffle House, as he said, off almost all the interstates. Kevin, take care of yourself, man. Thanks for all your support. What time is it? Okay,
it's almost time. It's just I wasn't making that connection, but now that makes a lot more sense to me. So sorry I wasn't doing that. But
look at this. I love this comment. Awful House is pretty good.
it's interesting because
That's got my brain tied up, Russ.
Well, for me, now that I think about it with everything you're saying, it's not so much that these people at Waffle House are Tesla drivers, but Waffle House is trying to make Tesla drivers into Waffle House purveyors with this move. That's what it seems like now.
Yeah. Best trading morning to date. Okay.
Yes.
Gosh, I did nothing and you had your best day. That just goes to show you the day is what you make of it. E-Rock, you're going to get a register ring and the Chewbacca seal of approval, which we value highly here on the show. All right, 13. We're going to get ready to get over to Anne Marie. Any closing words here for the group?
Well, folks, it wasn't the highest volume day, but we still managed to find some pretty good trades. They worked out pretty well. Hopefully, nobody was getting caught in any of these things that were knifing throughout the day. If you set your stops appropriately, you're doing just fine. Let's come back tomorrow. We'll have another great day, hopefully with the same kind of volume, but maybe even a bit better. And we'll make some better trades and we'll have make some more money. I'll see you then, folks. Take care. Enjoy Anne Marie. Bye-bye.
Okay, good stuff. 13. We will talk to you here tomorrow. Robert here. I love that we're having a serious discussion about this. Robert, Cracker Barrel would be better. It is off most interstates and higher class people. My opinion, neither seems like Tesla owners. Maybe they're just trying to bring business in. But anyway, okay. Let's go ahead and see how Anne Marie is doing here today. Anne Marie, happy Tuesday. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Look, all jokes aside here, everything good with the fam? Did our prayers and good vibes work for you? Fantastic.
You, yes.
That is how we wanted to start today. That is great news. Anne Marie, I have not pulled the group for tickers yet. I will reiterate the call here, folks. If there are stocks that you would like Anne Marie to set up a trade on, please suggest those tickers now. Anne Marie, in the absence of that, do you have anything that you want to take a look at here today?
You know, what I want folks to, I don't really have too much. I can look at a few things. I know we've all seen the, spinning wheel of death. Let's try it again. We could look at what Palo Alto.
Yeah, I was going to suggest Pan W today because they report here tonight. Matthew is also suggesting Uber. I was busy. I was saying earlier that it sure looks like Uber has 100 magnet in it and it is trying to trade up that $100 spot.
I suspect so.
Okay, right, it does look a little overcooked, maybe. So I don't know.
Yeah, it might be. It might be buy the rumor, sell the news for Uber. So we will look at both. I'm going to do a handy dandy restart on. I'm going to do a force quit on.
Okay.
Thinkorswim and then pop it right back up.
Okay. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and throw my chart up there while you're doing that. Let me know when you're ready here. Did we want to start with the Palo Alto chart or the Uber chart?
Do whichever one you want to.
Let's do Uber first. I'm patient. So let's do Uber first, then we'll do Palo Alto, and then Anon suggesting JPM. So Uber.
Did you see their note about charge-offs increasing next year?
I didn't see it. Someone mentioned that earlier today, though.
Yeah. Okay, so here we have Uber. Looking at the daily chart, we can see volume is declining on the way up. So there's also a vol move up here. Target right at 100. Not sure it's going to make it. It feels like they're driving after it. We are one time framing up, right? Old resistance, new support, old resistance, new support. So it does look like it's moving. This is a breakout of the very wide range that we're watching. And so the 50% retrace up there looks like a possibility, but it would be my inclination to wait for a short action event that just trades back to regular support. That's just my thought here, because it does feel a little bit extended. Simply, it's just moved like a rocket ship, right? So let's take a look at the option chains.
Okay, Matthew's saying here, I'm only asking because it's way over 70 on that daily RSI, and I'm wondering if it's going to pull back towards that 85 spot and then make a move towards 110. So it actually sounds like Matthew has a very similar viewpoint to you here, Anne-Marie.
Yes, and so I actually have a back ratio in this position for credit. So wow, let's see if I need to.
And I apologize because our tech guy, I believe, is out. So Aaron, who normally helps us with these issues.
No problem. I think I've got a resource hog here, so I'm going to close Outlook.
Oh yeah.
That's a big resource hog.
Yes, it is.
Especially since I'm one of those people that never clears my box.
Oh, you're presenting? Well, guess what? I'm going to load, preview, and download your 12,000 unread emails right now while you're presenting. It's like, thanks.
Okay. So Qubits is a bit long in the tooth. Just going to tell you, what is that, up 30-something%?
Yeah,
we probably want to ring the register right there, because it should fade. We've got compressed volatility in the charts for today, so we could move a little bit sideways. Let's see what else I need to close here.
I was going to say, I don't mean to make this any more difficult for you, but if we could blow that up and make it more visible, that would probably help too.
Of course. Yeah, sorry about that. Just a few technical glitches today.
Well, you're not alone in that, so.
Yeah. So what we are staring down is...
I actually still see your settings screen.
Okay, that's weird. All right, let's see if I can do that again. Let's go to extra large. Let's see if it behaves.
Yep,
okay,
that worked.
That's quite a bit better.
That worked.
All right. Oh, and my spinning wheel has decided to stop in general. So we're doing a lot better. So we got a little bit of compressed volatility in the near term, but what I do notice in a number of the indices is some expansion in volatility for next week. So, yeah, let's think about how we might do this. So if the thought is we move backwards first and then forward second, not really sure. A lot of people talking about, sell in May and go away. Not really sure what the storyboard is right there. But if you're thinking that the chart is in a space where it has an extension event, this isn't a bad place to say, hey, I wonder if I could find a cheap short back down into the breakout area, which is around 87. This is the market structure we're watching, this great big base that's moving us out here. You could think about that from a short perspective because everything is overextended. Here's the problem with using an RSI to make a trade. An RSI only tells you that a chart has a strong trend. A lot of times we think about this RSI going, ooh, that's overbought, or ooh, that's oversold, when really the right way to look at an RSI is to say, hey, this is just telling me I'm in a strong trend. And for those of us who traded Google back around 2011, that thing stayed in overbought for, I don't know, 8, 9 months before it took a little dip. So I'm very cautious on saying, hey, listen, this is extended, RSI is very high, price action's going to roll over. So
Anne-Marie, didn't William O'Neill in his material used to say that you should be looking for stocks that had like a 70 RSI or higher, because you're basically looking, you're looking for those that are in that trend, just as you said. Yeah. So
exactly.
That's a really good point that you're bringing up.
Yeah. So the question is, has it done enough to, and see, here's what I like about what happened here. It broke out of this was a volatility space and another smaller structure. It broke out of the range. It should test the range before moving to the north. So if you're thinking about a pullback, you might want to look at a very short time frame and use, maybe in 10 days it takes a little breath, especially since volatility is on the horizon. So you might go 90 to something cheap like 85 and buy yourself just a regular vertical put. If you want to make it something, that's a little bit more like a butterfly, you could do 85 to 80, but that only saves you about 6 cents. Right. And so my thought would be, if you're looking on the tight cycle event with 90 to 85 as your potential range, that's a really great way to position yourself there. Now, if you think the chart has upside, you're going to wait for the wiggles to move a little bit. And so that might be, you go into June or July if it keeps running. And that would be, let's see how cheap we can get, 100 to 105, because if it runs straight up, it should have a little bit of a move backwards to recalibrate. And that's only 50 cents. So you could literally position on both sides of these, give yourself time for the trade to work out, first on the short side, then on the long side. Or if you're very bullish and you think it's going to really run, then, maybe you try it instead of in August, you try it in June, right? And it's, round and about the same price. So if you think it's going to run really fast, what would I do? I would set an alert. And what I want to see is, hey, listen, if we expand up and we cannot hold the highs of the day, which is what we're looking at, right? Let's go to the hourly chart. You can see the price action is coming off of its highs. If you see something like that, you could use the topping formation event. And if it loses 92.50 by the end of today, you can say, you know what? 3 p.m., I've lost 92.50. I'm going to take that short position and I'm going to wait for it to come back and test my 87. Right? If it only ends up coming into 88, you're still going to make a couple of bucks and be in really great shape.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you'd want to wait until it comes in to test that 89 area. And then you can go, okay, I'll buy the 100 and it'll move up in that range.
Okay. I
All
like
right.
it. Let's do Pan W next.
This one's a beast, right?
Yeah. This is my favorite cybersecurity stock. I view this as best in breed.
It is best in breed. I totally agree. Totally agree. Let's take a look at the big picture event and look at where this chart's been literally in a range for, whoops. It's been in a range. Let's see if I can, oh, for the love of Pete, activate drawing. Here we go.
Did you hear that, Pete? Did you hear that nice thing she just said about you? I don't know if he's still here.
Look at how long this thing has been basing in a higher low formation. Literally since, and it just broke out. This is a weekly chart. Literally since the first test way back here in August of 2024, this thing has literally been caught inside of this box. It came out and then it comes back in. It pops out and then it comes back in. It pops down and then it comes back in. So from a big picture perspective, this chart is still ranging. It looks like maybe some folks are thinking, maybe this is a little bit of value. Maybe it's waiting for this next bit of earnings. It's got lower highs, except for this big wick that it reverses through. So it's got lower highs and lower lows in a broadening wedge, but it's breaking up over this edge. I would think, I think that'd be bullish, right? I would suspect that would be bullish. So the last time we had earnings was this great big monster move. So it did not hold its earnings move, right? It completely collapsed off of its earnings move. The earnings before that also faded but caught the bid. And then the earnings before that held the bid for a couple of weeks and then faded. So this has got to be, if you trade this and it spikes north, the best thing to do is cut and run.
Yeah.
You got to cut and run. It's not in a space where it's behaving well post earnings. So let's take a look at that. If we take a look at the market makers are looking for $14. So here's the flip side. If you get it right and you choose 3 days to expiry, you'll be in great shape. If you get it wrong, your trade is going to be worthless.
It's going to be zero or hero. This is a feast or famine trade. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you want to roll the dice here and say, okay, it's going to test 200, but I think it's going to lose 210, not going to move up above 210.
That was 207.5 you added there, by the way.
Sorry. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Eagle eyes. Love it. And so 220 would give you a debit of $148. So $148 for a potential $1,000 move. If you said, I kind of want to make it smaller, you could choose 200 to 205, but with a $200 stock, you've got to be exactly right. Of course, you only have to pay a third of the price. Now, if you said, all right, let me go to the week, give myself a little bit of room. It's a little cheaper the following week, gives you a little more room. I would still say you choose the wide range so that if it does accelerate and gets to fade, you'll have a little bit of room there, and easily 100 to 300% is what you're going to be after. So that's what I would say. If you're thinking, hey, where's the place to buy Palo Alto? My thought would be, somewhere around 175. I would say 175, that's the 50 simple moving average on the weekly chart. If you want to look at the 21, then that's 180. But give the chart, it's been rotating ever since it split, right? And we know sometimes splits take a while for a chart to go, okay, I've got more of these in the market, blah, 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 blah. People have all kinds of things. It could be building an inverted head and shoulders pattern with this shoulder, head. Let's say it pops to 205, 210. That's going to give us an even neckline and then fades back down to 172 and then, begins its next rocket upwards. They really, if we aren't looking at cybersecurity, we're missing some really important things because that's very, very important.
Yeah, and you know what, Anne Marie, the other thing about cybersecurity that I kind of think is going on, this is one of the reasons why it was my sector pick for 2025, is because I think that this is one of those industries where, yeah, you might be able to piece together that the company's looking into it, but you might not fully know what was going on until after it's done. Because it is in their best interest to not,
for you not
this
to
is all
know
the great stuff that we're doing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it makes this one a little bit harder to trade. I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, most certainly. They have to keep it under wraps because, there are people that get up in the morning and go, how can I cheat the world somehow? And you just got to keep that. So someone says I'm going long on Palo Alto into earnings.
I want to, Anne Marie. I'm fighting with myself right now. I might not be showing it, but I am fighting with myself right now. I'm looking at these contracts and I'm thinking, man, that's not even bad. I'm looking at this option chain and I'm thinking, God, $325 for the 205 call. I mean, you could take a little gamble at just the call by itself there.
Absolutely.
And if this prints 205 or anything above it, that for sure is going to be a monster.
Absolutely.
That's going to be more than a double, probably.
Yeah. Oh, easily. Easily. Because the average vol here is, it is twice that amount.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for that. This thing just moves like a house of fire when it's moving.
Yeah. And if you catch it at the right time, like a house of fire, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got 9 minutes here. We should have plenty of time. Let's do JPM next.
All right. So, let's take a look at this one. I have drawn some things, but let's just clear the drawing set and start from scratch.
And real quick here, Annie, I think the market makers for this print are pricing in a $14 move on Palo Alto. I think that's what you're asking for. $14 move. Yeah. Sorry, Anne Marie.
No worries. No worries at all. So this is actually still in a range. Now, we know at the end of the day, aren't they the clearing firm for the Fed?
I believe they are, yes.
I mean, this is a buy the dip instrument no matter what. So the question might be, this would make a great one for tonight. Let me write that down.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
By the way, Anne Marie, Tim, and I are doing a webinar tonight. That's what she's referencing.
Yeah. So what we're going to look at here for overall motion is earnings are not until July. We're inside of a wave. We gapped up. We're still making higher lows. So how well the market does, JP Morgan's going to follow along. Here's the thing. We had a high, and then we had a higher high, and then we had an even higher high, and then we gave up all of the motion of the great big candlestick on the week. So 261 is a do or die area in this chart, in my mind. And so if it loses 261, it could easily go to 241, and then the break of the last big structure looks like 225, right? So if you're staring this chart down, obviously it's in a buy the dip formation from a weekly perspective, but the daily perspective looks a little less clear to me. And we'll wait for it to come up. Right? So savage move to the upside, clear trend, RSI very high. Remember, the thing about an RSI, the way you're going to find out whether you have traction for downside motion is if the RSI fades, but price continues higher. Once it loses frontline support, which is right here on this breakout edge, and it continues to move up while the RSI or your stochastic is moving down, watch for it to break the support. That's going to be where the trade is. Right now, nothing's telling us that. It's still buy the dip, but it's got a fair bit of risk. The 50 down, or maybe that's my 63, the 21 up. So either or, if it were me, I'd be selling an iron condor here. I would, because it's in a cross current. And so let's see what it will give us. Waiting. We could get rid of it just before earnings, right? Spinning wheel. Okay, here we go. Just before earnings, we could take an iron condor and we would look at the 240, 230, because it's over $200 for the stock. So we'd want to give it a little bit of room. And then, wait, what was the top? My brain is a sieve. 280. $280 to $290, right? 347, the minimum I like to look for is $2. The delta is -7. So that's a 7% chance. The option chains have said there's a 7% chance that this will close in the money. And so those look like great odds to me.
Yeah.
If you're taking a directional bet, the better thing to do would be to let price try to top at this 270 and watch for the RSI to really change direction. That's certainly what I would do. But if it does change direction, there's a lot of there are a lot of buyers down here, right? Some at 250, some at 255, some at 240. This bright goldenrod color tells us the highest volume bar for the last year was sitting at the price point that's around 234. So that, in essence, I'd set an alert right around these edges below. Be patient on the chart. Could it run away? Yes, it could run away. And if it breaches 269 and the RSI continues to stay up, you can easily trade it to 280.
Okay. All right. Paul Meeks is coming up here. We actually have about 2 minutes. So Annie's asking, is it possible to look at Dollar General? And is it possible to look at Robinhood? I don't know if we can set up trades on those. Like I said, we've got under 2 minutes here. Anne-Marie, if you want to pick one of those and take a quick stab at the chart.
Let's look at Hood.
Okay. And then Annie, here's what I'll say. I will ask Anne-Marie politely, of course, if she'll do a Dollar General trade on Friday when we have the show next.
Absolutely.
Be sure to tune in on Friday. We'll do that for you. I'll put that at the top of the list.
Yeah.
All right. What do you see here?
That's great. So same kind of toppy business, right? Diminishing volume at a topping area. The implied volatility for the measure of 2 weeks in advance, I've got this already plotted. It's up at 68. So this one should take a little bit of a pit stop. Notice if this was an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we're looking at this neckline here at 49.50 with the base at 30, that's $20 up just about. And we're pretty close to that edge right now. If it does move, it could be a blow off top. People take some profits and then they pull back into the range. Could it continue moving? Absolutely. But when you've got a flat, big moving average like this and the chart accelerates, it usually has a reversion to the mean test. And so I'd be waiting for the 50s to get back involved with Hood.
Okay. All right. Really good breakdown there. Lee Hoy. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hopefully that was helpful. Anne-Marie, as always, you were wonderful. Again, can't wait to do this again. We'll do it on Friday.
Yes.
I'll see you later this evening. Thanks for everything.
Yes. Take care. Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
That
Bye.
is Anne-Marie Band. We will be back with her on Friday to set up some more juicy option trades. But right now, I'm going to send you to Tech Tune Up with Paul Meeks. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here today. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe. It's easy to support us. I'm sending you over to Paul Meeks. We'll